you not love that? An NFL team taking the field for the first time at home this season. Here come the Giants, taking on the Washington Redskins at Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands. And we are glad to have you with us today on Fox. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck, along with Troy Aikman and Chris Collinsworth. Chris, Joe Gibbs, Joe Gibbs, Joe Gibbs, Joe Gibbs, Joe Gibbs. That's all we heard last week. We were there. You even got a little warm and fuzzy about him coming back the way they played Tampa Bay. But tell me, I mean, this has got to be a Washington team that comes into this game awfully confident.
Yeah, I'm a warm and fuzzy kind of guy. There's no question about it. But we did. You go into the season, you're talking about Joe Gibbs and Mark Brunell and Clinton Portis and all the offensive weapons and all the things that the Redskins are going to do. And all of a sudden, you're sitting there and you're watching week one, and it's the defense led by Greg Williams, the new defensive coordinator, and guys that you really didn't expect to come to the forefront. Matt Bowen, Antonio Pierce, guys that just stepped up and made big plays as they blitzed 70% of the time in that first game. And Troy, I've got a thing for Kurt Warner today with that blitz package and with his history, especially here in this stadium. He has to be a little nervous coming in.
Well, I would think so, Chris. And really, when you look at this Giants team, they just need to win a game. And here it is in week 2. Yeah, they're only 0-1, but going back to last season, they've lost 9 in a row. And Kurt Warner, here he is. He's trying to get off to a fast start. He's trying to win over this home crowd, and he's going to be doing it in some very adverse conditions. The wind's going to be howling out there. That's very adverse for a quarterback. But I think the real key in this game is going to be Jeremy Shockey. He has got to be a factor in this ball game. Granted, he is not 100%. He's been coming off some injuries. Last week, he struggled at times. But in order for this team to have a chance to win, he's got to play a big role, because not only does he get the offense going, but he also has a big impact on getting this defense going and untracked as well.
And not only are the Giants 0 for their last 9, but Kurt Warner is 0 for his last 9, and he'll tell you that the tight end, Jeremy Shockey, is trying to figure out exactly where he fits in with this new Giants offense. There's still time to select your singular fantasy football team for this week. Text message play to 63504 on your singular wireless phone, or vote on foxsports.com. Joe Gibbs is back on the sideline for the Washington Redskins. We all know that. He and the Skins are here in the Meadowlands to take on the Giants. Next on Fox. With the Blackhawk helicopters going by overhead, we welcome you back to Giant Stadium. The 1-0 Redskins, the 0-1 Giants. It is a cool day. 62 degrees, and it is blustery. Winds 15 to 22 miles per hour. And as always, inside Giant Stadium, the winds are swirling around. Tom Coughlin has got to hope that this Giants team gets off to a fast start, or this home crowd could turn on the Giants in a blink. And in particular, quarterback Kurt Warner. And Joe Gibbs, before last week's game, sat his team down and said, guys, I'm sorry I'm getting all the attention. It was almost embarrassing to Gibbs. Well, he and Greg Williams and this Redskins team, very good, at least solid and sound in week 1 against Tampa Bay, started the right way, and now they try to make it 2-0. The Giants won the toss, they received, so we'll get an early look at Kurt Warner, who has not won in 9 starts. Willie Ponder will wait deep for the Giants. We're glad you're with us. John Hall has been bothered by a strained right hamstring, but good enough to go today.
For the second time.
We've already had one football blow off the tee, and now another. So it's one of those where Ade Jamo has to come in and hold it. And if you've never done that with an NFL kicker, swiping it from under your finger, it's a little unnerving.
Let's see if he pulls a Lucy here or not. You know, yank that finger off of there. I would. Of course, I had valuable hands, though, too. Right. You know that, Joe.
J. Jamo, and now with the short kickoff is Schenko on the return, and he is out to the 30-yard line. And here comes Kurt Warner. You remember the last time he was on this field, starting the opener last year for the St. Louis Rams, and it was an ugly day. And he has lost his last 9 starts, 14 fumbles in his last 5 games, including 2 last week at Philly. They were very happy, Troy Aikman, with a play of Deal out at right tackle last week.
Really, overall, Joe, they were pretty happy with the play of all 5 of those guys. Luke Pettigrew did struggle some, but overall the group played well.
And the first play is a handoff to Tiki Barber. Not much. One thing the Redskins didn't allow last week, rushing yards. Only 30 rush yards allowed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that means that this group up front was playing well. When you talk about the defense of the Redskins, you think about LeVar Arrington, who is good enough with a strained right knee to start at the weak side linebacker position. And Matt Bowen was a guy who made headlines blitzing one down after another against the Bucs. On second down, a toss to Barber. That's out to the 34-yard line. Pierce on the stop, and that will bring up 3rd down and 6.
And 3rd down being the big down for Greg Williams, and when he likes to attack an offense, his whole approach as a defensive coordinator is trying to minimize the gains on 1st and 2nd down, get them into a passing down on 3rd, and then turn the troops loose. That's what he did last week with great success against Tampa Bay.
But you know the Giants are anticipating that, maybe some kind of a screen here.
First throw of the day from Warner. Under pressure, and he lost the football. Tiki Barber was able to get back on top of it. Springs came on a blitz, and the ball just popped out of the hands of Kurt Warner. So yet again, Warner puts it on the ground, and Barber was there to recover it.
Well, they go with a zone blitz. They drop out the 2 tackles. They bring Springs off the corner. They're playing zone in behind it. But that's been the problem, the Achilles heel for Kurt Warner, is he's not been able to hang on to the ball. You mentioned it just a few moments ago, Joe, the fact that he has fumbled the ball so often.
15 fumbles in his last 5+ games, including this one. And now a punt into the wind, and Morton is on the return. The Redskins, who lost the toss, that might be one of the better things to happen to them here in this first half. They lose the toss, they end up getting the wind, and now they'll work with the wind, and Mark Brunell will lead this offense onto the field.
You know, going back to that last blitz, I think Kurt Warner was sitting there in the pocket. He saw only 2 guys blitzing in his face and got so comfortable he just never saw the corner blitz coming. And it's one of the things that Greg Williams does so well, disguises his blitzes. Watch, Kurt's only going to see 2 guys in a pass rush. He settles into the pocket and never saw Sean Springs coming off the corner.
That's a toss to Portis running left, and he's out to the 49. What we just saw in that first play is more of what people expect from a Joe Gibbs run offense, and that is a lot of pre-snap movement. Guys moving all over the line of scrimmage. And up front, protecting Mark Brunell and doing such a good job, not only in the first game, but throughout preseason, is this group. And Chris Samuels is playing brilliantly at left tackle. Portis with a big first day as a Redskin. 2nd down. Portis tries the other side. Big hole. Clinton Portis first down. Bryant Westbrook of the Eagles had a 119-yard day on the ground against this Giants defense, and a good run on 2nd down for Portis.
Take a look there at the job that Walter Rasby does at tight end. I've always felt tight end's the toughest block that they have to make because they have to sustain that block so long. He does a great job on that play, got movement, and that's why they were able to pick up some big yards.
Working on strong side linebacker Reggie Torber, who's making his first start. Coles. Open field in front of him, making moves, and he's out of bounds at the 25 with a first down. Folks, this crowd could turn quick.
Well, and I think they're turning on the defense, and justifiably so. It was simply a horrible performance by this Giants defense. a week ago. And if you go back through the proud history of this franchise, they've always been able to play on the defensive side, but there were guys that played what I thought was their worst football game of their careers a week ago against Philadelphia. And at the top of that list would be cornerback Will Allen, who just had a terrible day.
On first down, it's Portis blocking in front of him. Tackles made by Lewis after a gain of 4. Look at the defense for the New York Giants. Michael Strahan, who is the guy right at the center of this latest controversy with head coach Tom Coughlin and the finding during that first week prior to the Philadelphia Eagles game. And then the linebackers, Torber gets the start, his first, in place of the injured Carlos Emmons, who's out with a bad groin. Second down and 6. Why go away from the run when it's working so well? First down. 8 more yards for Clinton Portis, and right now the defensive front for the Giants is getting manhandled.
This is a total mismatch up front right now. I mean, those are just about as basic a run plays as you can do. Just a stretch play out here to the outside, and Chris Samuels and Derek Dockery, and they're just pushing the Giants 4 or 5 yards backwards off the ball. This is going to be a long day unless something changes quickly.
Ray Brown is starting at right tackle today. Kenyatta Jones starts this one on the bench. We'll try to get word on Jones if there was some injury or if it's just Brown. Another one for Portis, who goes down. Basically tripped himself, and a loss of 2. Lewis with pressure.
Yeah, so far that's the only way the Giants have been able to slow down this running game is Clinton Portis falling down, because Washington certainly is getting a big push along that offensive line, and it's a very athletic group. I mean, they're strong and they're physical at the point of contact as well, but they all move exceptionally well, and they're all asked to pull. We saw Chris Samuels pull out on the wide receiver screen, Lenny Friedman, their center, Randy Thomas. All of these guys can get out and run on the edges.
Second and 12. Rolling out and hitting Sellers, looking for the end zone, and Sellers is going to be down just inside the 1. Another first down for Washington, and the ball is sitting just outside the goal line.
Well, and this is what happens when you start running the ball so well. You're going to see 45 Mike Sellers. He sets it up very well, shows blocking, comes off of it off the naked boot. So much of that play being successful is timing, knowing when to come off of the block so that it times up when Brunell gets out on the edge. But when you're running the ball as effectively as what Washington is, those types of boots and coming out, it's just a gimme.
Here's Portis. He didn't get there.
Troy, just to go back to that bootleg on the previous play, the Giants blew about 4 or 5 coverages, flat out blew like you see a high school team blow coverages a week ago, and then they come out with the first very basic, simple little bootleg action. The corner flies out, the linebacker flies out. It's just, you're not supposed to miss simple assignments out there. They did it last week, and Tim Lewis is about to pull his hair out with this football team.
Portis again. That's Lewis. A loss of 1 on the play will bring up 3rd and goal.
A really nice job by Kevin Lewis, and I know coming into last week's game in the opener, middle linebacker was a real concern for this Giants defense. It came in, Nick Bryson was who they thought was going to be the starter, but Lewis, he's a guy who will come up and feel in the running game. That's exactly what he did there. You have to do it down there on the 1-yard line in order to keep a good back like Portis out of the end zone. Great play by Kevin Lewis.
They roll Brunell out again. It's Cooley this time. Absolutely wide open. Touchdown.
2 blown coverages on the same play. I mean, they are young. I will say that. They are young back there. Carlos Emmons is out at linebacker. Reggie Torbor in. Kevin Lewis. But this is really a joke. I mean, you can't on a bootleg. You've got to expect bootleg in this situation. 3rd and long, they're going to come with the blitz. Big deal. Somebody has to cover the guy out in the flat, the end guy on the line of scrimmage.
Well, what happens is they get caught looking in the backfield, and they're not aware of the linemen, or excuse me, the wide receivers that are around them. Not a difficult play there to defend.
Not in professional football. You're not supposed to be unaware of the receiver you're covering.
So, Chris, I guess the conclusion is you're pretty excited and you like what you see from this Giants defense?
I thought they would have fixed something.
7-0, Washington.
Fox NFL Sundays brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39.
So Joe Gibbs is back on the Washington Redskins sideline. Against all teams other than the Giants, Gibbs, including the playoffs, 129-52 is his record. Against the Giants, 12-13 and 6-7 here, including that playoff loss January 1987. Kurt Warner will get a second chance. The first one didn't go well at all. It included another Warner fumble, and John Hall kicks it away for the Redskins. Willie Ponder taking it. Nice return by Ponder. Out of bounds just shy of the 40. And it was John Hall, the kicker, who has a bad right hamstring, in on the stop, and he will limp back over to the sideline. If Hall can't do it, as this game wears on, Tom Tupa, the punter, would take over the place kicking duties. Cooley's first touchdown in the NFL, 7-0 Washington. Because of the kick coverage unit for the Redskins and Ponder running through it, Hall had to get in on the stop and really comes out of there limping.
They got a lot of sympathy from Troy up here.
That's not fair, Collinsworth. You can't bring on the air what happens during the break.
Okay.
Well, you can't make things up. That's what you can't do.
I'm warm and fuzzy, though, so it's all right.
Ball's out at the 42. They tacked on 5 yards for a face mask while we were in break on that kick return. And the first pass completion for Warner is out to Toomer for a first down.
I think that's really what the Giants are going to have to do here, especially early on. Kurt Warner, when he was at his best, was a guy that took a quick drop, got the football out quickly. Teams were almost afraid to blitz him when he was with the St. Louis Rams because they had so many weapons, so many one-on-one matchups that they could win on the field. And I think they really need to reestablish that here in the early going.
First down for the Giants. They're inside Washington territory. Play action. Warner dumps it off to Barber. Tiki Barber into the open field with another first down, and Warner got pounded after he dumped that ball off.
Yeah, Kurt got hit pretty good there. In fact, he's still a little bit sore from the pounding he took last week against Philadelphia. He got hit on the play prior to this also, but he comes out. He's able to get the ball out. Does a good job. Marcus Washington puts the pressure on him, but this is how you attack a defense that's fast like Washington and likes to put pressure on you. You try to misdirection them a little bit. They get the screen out to Tiki Barber and a nice pickup.
Ron Dane is the tailback for the Giants. And he gets it. Gets it to the 30. That's it, a gain of 2. It has been a long time coming for not only the Giants as a franchise, but for Kurt Warner. 378 days since their last home win for the Giants. For Kurt Warner, 966 days. You have to go back a couple of years. An NFC Championship game against Philadelphia. So he's trying to break an 0-9 string, as are the Giants. Second down and 8, and Warner stumbles, dropping back. And Salavea is so happy that the turf brought down Warner, he gets to celebrate.
Well, that was an easy one there for Joe Salavea. He got stepped on by Sean O'Hara, the center. You're going to see Sean O'Hara takes a step back, catches him right there. Boy, you just hate that as a quarterback. You're trying to get out there and make a handoff, and quarterback's trying to get out, center stepping back, and there's just nothing you can do about it. But what it does is now it creates a 3rd and long, which plays right into the hand of Washington.
And here they come.
Pass is caught, but way short of a first down by Amani Toomer, a gain of only 7. That gets the ball inside the 30 and kicking down toward this end of the field during pregame warmups. This was about at the outer edge of both place kickers' range, trying to get the ball through the uprights.
Well, it was a pretty good call, actually, by the Giants. I mean, they recognize it's 3rd and long. The likelihood of them being able to pick that up isn't very good. They know they're going to get pressure. They get the ball out, get a completion, which now allows them to try to come away with this drive with 3 points.
The Giants have to call timeout because the field goal unit wasn't all together. David Deal was late getting out there, and New York has to spend a timeout. Christie is waiting to try a 47-yarder after hitting on his only try last week at Philadelphia from 53, but kicking to this end of the field makes it twice as hard. And as I said, Christie was testing himself from about this distance during the pregame warmups. So that field goal try is coming up on the other side of the break as the Giants try to get on the board. Well, for a head coach who pays as much attention to detail as Tom Coughlin, you know, not having the right personnel out there in a field goal try in the huddle will not sit well.
No,
Really?
no. If probably fry an egg on his head after that one. I mean, if you get mad for a guy being 2 minutes early to a meeting, how about not being out there for the field goal team?
It's 4th down and 7, and Christie will try a 47-yarder. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Okay, Joe. Redskins kicker John Hall continues to get a lot of attention here on the sideline. Trainers are looking at his right hamstring. They gave him some treatment on that as well, and he is on the bike now trying to warm up that leg. He tweaked it actually on that play that you saw earlier, but he injured it last week against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Back to you.
That happened on the opening kickoff. And he later missed a 50-yarder, hit 3 shorter field goals, and it was not a certainty that he was going to even play in this game. Snaps a little high, and the kick from Christie is short.
Not even close.
Fiegel's got it down. Christie couldn't get it up and through. It's still 7-0 Washington, and they take over at their own 37.
Fox NFL Sundays brought to you by Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard. By Pepsi, it's the Cola. By State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Hertz, it's your trip. Rent wisely.
Defense for the Redskins talking it over, but the question is, how will the defense for the Giants play as they were rolled over by the Redskins their first possession. Quick throw, Coles. They asked Peterson to make a tackle or force him out of bounds, and Will does after a gain of 4. First drive, the Redskins seemed to be able to do anything they wanted. The only time Portis was stopped was when he tripped himself on the turf. They like to get Coles into that open field, and then a completion to Sellers to get him down to just inside the 1. Cooley was wide open on the same play 3 plays later to put the Redskins on the board first. Second down and 6. Coles incomplete, well covered by Peterson. Let's have a game break. Here's JB.
Hey, Joe. Michael Vick told Terry Bradshaw he couldn't dance. He danced nicely here. A little 7-yard toss to Justin Griffin. 7-0 Falcons in the first. And Aaron Brooks and the Saints on the board. After spotting the Niners a 3-0 lead, Aaron Brooks to cell phone Joe Horn. 7-3. Saints up in the first. Back to Joe, Troy, Chris, and Pam.
A little Ryder Cup salute from Joe Horn. 3rd down and 6. Brunell sprints to his right, fires, and it's in the air and incomplete. Will Allen on the coverage. And it was Gardner, the intended receiver. It was Thrash who prevented the interception.
Well, Mark Brunell checked to this play. This is something Washington likes to do when they feel like they're getting pressure. Mark Brunell has the ability to check to a sprint out. Fortunate that that ball was not intercepted.
And if you're a Giants fan, you have to feel a whole lot better about seeing Will Allen make that play. He just didn't look like he was ready a week ago. Missed a lot of the preseason with injuries. Was beaten badly by Terrell Owens. Comes out, makes a nice play there.
Low snap. Tupa gets off a line drive. Punting into the wind. And the Giants have it down by 7. They moved the ball a little better their last possession. And they'll take over at their own 25. Well, I'll say this. When they do 10 yards with TB, the three of us have our little headsets on up here in the booth watching.
I thought Michael Vick got off a little easy, though, today,
I
didn't
did
you?
too. I thought it was light.
Yeah. He likes him a lot, I think. But that's why.
You can choose who he goes 10 yards with next. You can choose from LaDainian Tomlinson, Amon Green, Clinton Portis, and Priest Holmes. And you can do that by logging on to foxsports.com on MSN.
I tell you, Clinton Portis would get my vote.
You got a little visit with Clinton last night.
Yeah, entertaining.
Yeah, he's funny.
Another blitz, but this time a completion to Shockey. And Kurt Warner, I have a feeling, is going to be picking himself up off that turf a lot today.
Yeah, and you know, even when you go back when he played with the Rams, he took a lot of hits, but you know, he's starting to age a little bit. You want to try to minimize the hits on this guy, but each time he has dropped back today, he has taken a shot. Right there, Chris Nee, the guard, supposed to come out and take care of that and eliminate the hit, but at least he has the awareness to get the ball out to Jeremy Shockey, his first reception of the day.
On second down, it's short. Drop play to Tiki Barber, and Barber has a first down.
But the good news was on that play was that Jeremy Shockey caught the football. He clearly struggled last week against Philadelphia, dropped what looked to be a sure touchdown on a fairly easy throw. But you also have to remember he really hasn't played in about 10 months, and the rust clearly showed last week. But you could also see him begin to get into a bit of a groove as the game went along, and probably will come back and be the threat he always was here today.
On first down, Barber. Nice head of steam, and Tiki Barber picks up 7.
You know, you talk a little bit about Jeremy Shockey, and he is still working off the rust, as you mentioned, and struggled a little bit last week. And I think Jeremy Shockey's still trying to figure out exactly what his role is going to be within this offense. Of course, he's such a big part of what they've done in the past. He's found himself, at least last week's ball game, being more of a blocker, and I think that's overall a mistake for this team. He's such a weapon in the passing game. I think they got to be real careful when they start keeping him in as a blocker.
On second down, Warner to Finn, the fullback. And Jim's got a first down for the Giants inside the Washington 45.
And Jim Finn is a weapon as a receiver coming out of the backfield. He doesn't get to run the football very often at all, and he's a good fullback, not a dominant blocker by any means, but he does provide an additional threat as a receiver coming out of the backfield, and makes a nice play there.
Philip Daniels is on all fours on the Giants sideline, hurt. Had an abdominal problem during the preseason, and we will just hold off on speculation and wait and see what the story is with Philip Daniels, a guy that they gave a 4-year, $12 million contract to come over from Chicago. So a minute 30 remaining in this first quarter. The Giants trying to get their legs underneath them and trying to get on the board, down 7.
Here you go, Monica.
Thank you.
It's your move.
This is so fun. I've never really played this game.
Okay, I've got Roughing the Palate on Keith, giving his date of beer with less flavor. Not cool. Replacing with genuine flavored, cold filtered, smooth Miller Genuine Draft. Oh boy. We've also got a noticeable unibrow on Keith. That's a no second date penalty. Still single. Play beer.
What?
Miller. Good call.
Philip Daniels was able to get off under his own power. That's the best thing. that he was able to walk off without any assistance. And here's a look at what caused him to end up on all fours before our break.
Yeah, he's had the abdominal injury. You don't know if he stretched it out somehow, falling over the top of that pile, or exactly what happened.
On first down, it's Dane. Crawling forward, picked up 4.
I really think this becomes a big drive for this New York Giant offense. And going back to last week, they were able to move the football. In fact, I thought they played a lot better offensively than what you would expect going in against a good Philadelphia Eagle defensive team. But they weren't able to come away with a lot of points once they got in a position to score points. And, of course, they moved the ball down earlier. The previous drive, they don't come away with any points. And here they're moving the ball again on this series.
There was movement along the line. It looked like Luke Pettigrew might have moved prior to the snap. And Coughlin loves that.
And I think, Luke Pettigrew, he's got to be more of a leader for this offensive football team, at least along that offensive line. And, many people thought that was going to be a real weakness for this team. And I don't feel that way. I think that they played pretty well last week. It's a group that's still trying to come together, but Luke Pettigrew needs to be the veteran guy that he is, and he did not play well last week, and you can't have penalties like this against a good football team and overcome them.
Makes it 2nd down and 11 with 30 seconds and counting to play in the first quarter. Warner fires. He hits Shockey, and Shockey is down at the 36, short of a first down, a gain of 9, and that will likely do it for the first quarter.
And that's what I really like to see out of the Giants and out of Kurt Warner. When he's back there and throwing quickly, as a defensive coordinator, you just don't have the time to try and get there with those blitzes, and it makes you back off a little.
Warner has not thrown an incompletion. 6 for 6. It'll be 3rd down and 2 for the Giants at the other end of the field when we come back. 1 quarter is gone. 2nd quarter coming up. The NFL on Fox will continue after this. The late Pat Tillman is being honored this weekend by all NFL teams.
That's the man right there. That's the man right there.
Former Arizona Cardinals safety. First NFL player killed in combat since the Vietnam War. And on 3rd down and 2, it's Dane. And Dane did not get it. Let's check in again with Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe. Philip Daniels, the Redskins defensive end, has gone into the locker room for treatment. The Redskins say he has a strained groin. They've taken him back there to get a better look at it. His return is uncertain.
It's 4th down, and the Giants are going for it.
Well, I'd expect play action. The Giants have not done well on short yardage situations. I'd see play action here to Dane and try to hit something quick in the flat.
Instead, they toss to Dane. Running left, and he does not get it. In fact, lost a yard.
I just don't know how many times, Joe, that they can continually try to pick up short. I know you got to be able to run the ball in short yardage. I know they got Tiki Barber. I know they got Ron Dane, and somebody has to carry it. And because of Ron Dane's build, they immediately assume that he's a short yardage back. I just don't see him in that role. And I'm not saying he's not a good back. He has the ability to do some things, but it's not in short yardage situations. And this has been going on for quite some time. And if you can't do it with that guy, then at least try to throw the ball and create some other ways to pick up some yards.
I'm not saying anything, Joe. I've said enough on that one.
A turnover on downs that happened a couple times last week to the Giants. And it's Portis, but it is a story. I mean, they have been trying to force feed Ron Dane as the short yardage guy. Last week, he got a touchdown on a 3-yard carry. We talked to Coughlin about it. He said, I'm not so sure he's not a short yardage guy. But how many times does he have to not come up with the yards?
But what did Tom Coughlin tell us yesterday? He said what Ron Dane does is he decelerates at the point of contact, which is the worst thing you can do as a short yardage back. You have to accelerate when you get contact.
2nd down and 8. Clint Portis cuts it up. And got 5. Let's go for another game break. Here's James Brown.
Hey, Joe, I guess this qualifies as lucky. Take a look at Jake Delhomme in the grass with Monty Beasley. Spun around, throws it up for grabs, but Chris Mangum there to receive it. Carolina trying to bounce back from a whooping last week on top of Kansas City, 7-3 back to Joe Buck.
I tell you, those throws never work for me. When I just threw them up, I see Favre do it a lot. It never worked when I did it.
But it's not luck with Jake. It's just Jake. You know, Jake gets away with those things.
Blitz coming from the Giants, and Brunell will go down, and the ball's out. A blitz, a sack, a fumble, and a recovery by New York. Robbins had pressure, and Strahan has the football.
A really great job by Fred Robbins. 98 is going to be coming through, putting pressure. First they come up inside with the blitz, and that's what got Brunell moving a little bit, and just a jailbreak up front. That's what they were unable to do last week. Even when they had blitzes called, they could not get pressure on the quarterback. Today they've been able to do that. A big turnover, now putting the ball back in their offense's hands.
Yeah, and things you don't typically see. A turnover by the Washington Redskins and Mark Brunell, and a sack. Mark Brunell not sacked a single time against Tampa Bay a week ago.
Play action. Warner with all day, airs it out. Looking for Carter, touchdown.
What a great route that time by Tim Carter.
Well, what you're going to see is a double move here by Tim Carter. He's going to start like he's going to the corner there, and then he just cuts across the face of Matt Bowen. Matt Bowen sees him start to the corner, gets his hips turned, and with the speed of Tim Carter, it was over at that point.
Christie makes it 7-7. Kurt Warner in this first half has put the ball on the ground. He's also put it through the air and into the arms of his receivers. 7 for 7. This one good for 38 yards and a touchdown to Tim Carter.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Cadillac. Bold vehicles defying convention. By CDW, the right technology right away. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
All the Giants had to do was give this crowd at Giants Stadium a whiff of something positive. And Kurt Warner has just done it. His second touchdown throw in his last 153 tosses. So it's been a while for him, and he hits Tim Carter for a 38-yarder. A beautiful route, great throw. And I guess, guys, it all starts with protection from that offensive line.
And he got it there. And you're right, Joe, as far as these fans are concerned, gosh, they've just been waiting for something to cheer for here for quite some time. And you get this crowd into the game, it's an entirely different place to play for Washington.
Christie, a short kickoff. That's Morton from just inside the 15. Ballard on the stop as Morton got out to the 27. Here's the protection on that touchdown.
Well, they come back first play after the turnover and go play action, which is a great way to fool a defense. Come out a little surprised. They're looking for the stretch play, and then you just get speed against a guy who's not very fast in Matt Bowen. Matt Bowen has no help to the middle of the field at all. He got his hips turned around. It was a quarter half coverage. And because he had no help to the inside, Matt Bowen way overplayed that route to the top side. He thought it was a corner and got fooled.
Brunell hands to Portis. Gain of 3. What's coming up next week around the National Football League? We have an exciting game late. Doubleheader game 1. The Eagles at the Lions, who start today 1-0. Both teams do. And then the second half of the doubleheader, about as good as you want to get. for the early part of the season. The Packers at the Colts.
Yeah, and how about the way Indianapolis starts out on the road at New England and now on the road at Tennessee in the first 2 weeks.
And then you get Green Bay at home.
Blitz coming. It was timed well. Portis flips. They're going backward. Coles is wrangled down inside the 15, but a penalty flag is on the field. It would be a loss of 16 yards, but we'll check the marker.
I'd say the Giants had that one figured out. They had the first guy tackled, so he has to flip the ball. Clinton Portis literally just has to throw it backwards to Lavernius Coles, and then Norman Hand with a big tackle as well. That one never, ever had a chance.
Barrett Green timed his blitz perfectly and was a guy who got immediately on top of Portis.
Think Joe Gibbs got any play calls for 3rd and 23?
He does. Now's the time. Portis. They play it safe, and Portis gets into the open field, but is brought down short of first down yardage, a gain of 22.
That's a pretty good one, isn't it?
Well, he had one for 3rd and 22
and a half.
Wow.
He almost had that one broken out of there. What a weapon Clinton Portis is. Just taking something out of absolutely nothing. There's no way. It's just a give-up play, really, by Joe Gibbs. But I guess when you have Clinton Portis, it's not a give-up at all. Give a little credit to Brent Alexander for making a nice open field tackle, or that's a first down.
Mark Jones is waiting for the punt. Jones on a hop. Shows off that great speed and crosses the 40. An 11-yard return. A couple of vets get together and celebrate. The Giants have life. Strahan and Warner tied at 7. .77 game. Kurt Warner with a perfect quarterback rating up to this point. 7 for 7. He has the touchdown throw. By the way, to clear up one thing on that loss, the previous series, part of the Redskins, a loss of 16 yards. There was a flag down. It was a hold on Washington, which was declined. Tom White's referee's microphone is not working, so that's why we never got a definitive word. This is Carter on an end around, showing off that great speed, and Carter got 7. Bowen on the tackle.
You know, we were talking about last night, Troy. I just couldn't believe after watching practice the other day that Tim Carter hasn't been a bigger part of this offense. He's so fast and he's so explosive, and he really gives this Giants team something they don't have, which is a real legitimate deep threat, but he has been injured a lot.
Yeah, he had a torn Achilles a couple years ago. He's had some concussions. He just had not been able to stay on the field.
2nd down and 2. That's Hilliard with a catch, a first down. The ball just inside the 44-yard line. Let's go for a game break and check in again with JB.
It was Michael Vick's 14-yard run that set up this 2-yard dash by Warwick Dunn and the Falcons on top 14-0 over St. Louis. Priest Holmes, big day indeed. This only a 1-yard run, but his 4th touchdown of the season. Kansas City on top 10-7. Back to Joe Buck.
All right, JB, thanks. Tiki Barber with a good run. Got out of the grasp of Warner and Bowen and picked up 5.
Yeah, and I know they're trying to, really balance the carries between Tiki Barber and Ron Dayne. As a matter of fact, last week, Ron Dayne had more carries than what Tiki Barber had. Tiki only had 9 carries, but, he is one of those guys, and when you get the ball into his hands, he can make some things happen. And right there, he's able to make some guys miss, break some tackles, and that's what you need, some playmakers.
On 2nd down and 5, Barber trying to do that again. And he's 3 yards shy of a first down.
Well, to go back to a week ago, the Giants really feel like that one of the reasons that Tiki Barber had such a big day was that he was a little more rested than what he was a season ago when Ron Dayne wasn't playing and didn't get any carries. And so by the time they got around to the 3rd and the 4th quarter, he still had enough for that explosive 72-yard run. And I have to say, looking at him in that first game, he did look more explosive than he did last season.
More movement on the offensive line.
Number 67. Offense, 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
The only problem, Chris, with that 72-yard run was it came when the game, in essence, was over. And you're right that I do think that they need to somehow balance it to where he stays fresh. I don't know that he's a guy, at least, that's the argument every year as to how long can this guy hold up. I've not seen any signs over the years that he's gotten too many carries or that he can't handle the load. His biggest problem is that he's been putting the ball on the ground. If he overcomes that, he's a real weapon for this offense.
Well, that really hasn't been a factor this year, at least to this date through the preseason.
Third down and 8. Blitz coming. Warner in trouble. Drops it off. And it's incomplete. Barber was the closest one to it. And that brings up fourth down. Another blitz from the Redskins.
Well, Sean Taylor is going to come right around the edge here and get there quickly. He, of course, the #1 draft pick for the Washington Redskins, and a guy that they don't exactly trust as of yet back in the defensive secondary, but such phenomenal physical skills, his strength and his speed. Greg Williams was talking about it last night. They think he's going to be a great blitzer one day.
A punt by Fiegels. Morton calls for a fair catch and hauls it in at the 10. So the Redskins get it back. 32-yard punt by Fiegels, and we're still tied at 7.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by GMC. We are professional grade.
We welcome you back. You are watching Fox Sports, broadcasting in 720p and Dolby 5.1, the world's finest high-definition standard. Stan Hickson is the wide receivers coach for Joe Gibbs, and he and the family are still down in Tampa, Florida with Drew Hickson. Their son, Drew, is a wide receiver for Tennessee Tech. Suffered a hit against South Florida, is in an induced coma. Signs are that he is progressing, but all of us send our best wishes and our prayers to the Hickson family as they go through that. As Gardner makes his first catch of the day, and he is brought down immediately by Allen. Gain of 3.
That's a great job there by Will Allen in the open field, bringing down Rod Gardner, and that's something a week ago he didn't do a very good job of. And when you're going to play one-on-one on the outside, which certainly Will Allen is capable of when he's healthy, you've got to be a sure tackler in the open field, and that's exactly what he does. He's got a size disadvantage to the size of Rod Gardner, but great open field tackle by Will Allen.
Second down and 7. Blitz coming from Torber, and the pass is complete to Cooley. He's out to the 19, a yard shy of a first down. You kind of got the feeling yesterday, talking to Michael Strahan, that he still needs to be shown that this defensive scheme works. And he's not 100% sure that the guys who are supposed to be in their lanes and to his left and right and behind him are always going to be there, and it's an uneasy feeling for him right now.
A little different from what he's done in the past. He's been able to freelance a little bit, which is something he's comfortable with. Now he's being asked to be a little more disciplined and play a gap, and you do have to trust the guy next to you that that guy's going to play his gap. Otherwise, the system doesn't work.
On third down and 1, Portis falls forward. The ball pops out. Live football. Touchdown, New York. Barrett Green on the return.
Sean Williams that time coming on a late blitz. Came through the hole where I believe Portis was trying to go and got his helmet directly on the football to kick that thing out of there. So for the second straight week now, the Washington Redskins give up a touchdown. Watch Sean Williams coming from right here. He's going to shoot through the backside of that hole, get the hit, and then the ball literally hits the back of his own guy, Randy Thomas, and pops out.
And for Clinton Portis, not a guy who puts the ball onto the ground. Coming into this game, had not had a fumble in 268 touches. Very uncharacteristic. Could not have come at a worse time.
What an amazing turnaround for this Giants defense after that lethargic start. And now they're just playing so emotionally. The one play, the one turnover, and then the touchdown seemed to really wake them up.
14 points off turnovers. might believe in that defense a little more. 14-7 Giants. Joe Gibbs, prior to the start of this season, was fond of saying the only thing the past buys you is fond memories. Well, of all the memories he had in his coaching career the first time around, he didn't have many good memories here at the Meadowlands. And now, after a very good start to this game, a lot like the Tampa Bay game, by the way, for the offense for the Redskins, they find themselves down 14-7. And there are questions about this Redskins offense, as Morton takes it from inside the 10. Good return by Chad Morton. He got across the 25, and he's knocked down at the 27. Two very big plays by this New York defense today. The fumble recovery by Strahan, and then most recently the pickup and return by Barrett Green after Williams came on the blitz and knocked it out.
And I think that's the key, Joe, that Tim Lewis has just started dialing up a lot of blitzes, and I think part of that is because the play of these two cornerbacks, Will Allen and Will Peterson, has been so much better today than what it was a week ago. It's giving him some confidence to bring people.
His defense did not start out the day very well at all, with Washington moving down the field and scoring on its first possession. Cooley on the reception here. A penalty flag comes down in the area where Brunel came down.
Roughing the number 72, New York. A 15-yard penalty at the end of the play. First down.
Well, that's O.C. Umenyiora. You're going to see he comes in, and boy, it does not take much for them to make that call. They watch it very closely. The referee's job is to just focus on the quarterback. So anytime there's contact on the quarterback, the referee's there to make that call. And of course, Lavernius Cole's on the outside, getting a little physical out there as well, with Will Peterson knocking him to the ground. And I know in talking with Joe Gibbs the other night, he said one of the things that he was proud of is when they gave up the touchdown offensively last week, how their offense came back out and responded. They're in a similar situation here now, and I'm sure he's as anxious to see if they're going to respond the way that they did a week ago.
We'll all have to wait a little more as Washington will spend their first time out of this first half. First down at their own 48. Mark Brunel, who played for Tom Coughlin for 8 years down in Jacksonville and got the Jaguars to 2 AFC championship games, has been asked this week by the New York area writers about life with Tom Coughlin. First down for Washington at their own 48. Another blitz. And Brunel, it's batted in the air and picked off by Robbins.
Boy, Barrett Green is about to wear out this Washington Redskins offense. Going to go with the fake reverse action off of that. Barrett Green's going to shoot right up the middle, get the pressure again. And Fred Robbins, the former Viking, right there.
Well, I tell you, Fred Robbins, who had a big game last week, and he's having another big game here this afternoon. Guys that size are not supposed to be able to make the kind of athletic plays that we're seeing from him. He goes up, bats the ball, and then catches it much like a receiver. A great play both by Barrett Robbins and Barrett Green and Fred Robbins.
On first down for the Giants, it's Barber. No gain.
And to give you some idea how remarkable that play was by Robbins, that is only the second interception in like the last 200 attempts against this Giants defense. And wouldn't you know, it'd be a defensive tackle to end up making it. The pass defense has been horrible during this losing streak, and yet the pressure, the blitzing, the coming after Mark Brunel almost seems to have the Redskins off guard right now.
On second down, Warner fires, and the pass is caught. That's Hilliard out of bounds at the 20. Just like last week, Joe Gibbs trying to rally the troops after a bad play. and get these Redskins thinking the right thoughts.
Well, I tell you what, I really like what New York is doing offensively. They're giving a lot of different looks, and they, you know, last week when you watched Washington, they were the aggressive ones, and they were the one putting the offense on the heels. Right now, you see New York and what they're doing from an offensive standpoint, and they're being the aggressors, and you see Washington sitting back on their heels now.
3rd down and 4. Warner drops it off incomplete, and that's only the 2nd incompletion of this half for Warner.
And that's a pretty good job right there. Whether or not it was actually pass interference, Tiki Barber sure thought it was, but Antonio Pierce, who's the quarterback of this defense, locked up one-on-one on Tiki Barber once they bring pressure. And if he's not in coverage where he was, Tiki Barber takes that ball and probably scores.
Let's just say that whatever the Giants have done with their shorter, quicker throws and their better weapons on the outside than what Tampa has, it's really scared the Washington Redskins defense.
Christie is good from 38 to make it 17-7 Giants.
I mean, this was a Redskins defense a week ago, Joe, that just looked like they were not afraid of anything Tampa could throw at them. But the Giants have a lot more of the individual stars on the offensive guys that could win the one-on-one battles that the Bucs receivers could not a week ago. And right now the Redskins are just backing off defensively.
Well, I think right now when you look at, okay, what does Washington have to do now when they get this possession is everything that they've done has been short completions. They've thrown it to the outside for 5-yard hitches. They've run the boot. And what you've seen is the defense for the Giants, they're working up and they're getting an 8-man front. I would expect very early in this series that Washington has got to come with some play action, and they've got to take a shot down the field. If they're going to get one-on-one coverage on the outside, it's fine if you want to go for completions, but at some point you got to try to hit the home run. I would expect them to do that here pretty quickly.
And Mark Brunell now is going to have to do something that he hasn't had to do yet, and that's carry this team with the passing game. So far they've been able to run, play action, screen, do all those types of things, and I don't think they're going to completely get away from their game plan, but Mark Brunell has to prove to the Giants that he can beat them throwing the football.
Morton's been busy from the 11. Morton out to the 28. 17-yard return. This week on the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, a couple of teams fighting for position in the race for the NL wild card. The Cubs take on the Mets, and the Astros battle the Brewers. The NL West leading Dodgers take on their rival, the Giants, in a game with huge playoff implications. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern, noon Central on Fox. Look at Chicago leading 13-3 at Green Bay. Rams are on the board, down 7 in Atlanta. Brunell over the middle. Gardner can't make the catch. Wide open, and he dropped it.
I tell you, and those are the types of plays when you're a quarterback and when you're an offense that's struggling, especially on the road, and you're trying to get some momentum going. You got to take advantage of those opportunities. Rod Garner runs a good route. He finds the hole in the defensive zones. Mark Brunell delivers, and they don't come away with the completion in the yards.
Man, the Redskins really look unsettled to me right now. We have not seen them this way, at least in the games that we've seen, and even during the course of the preseason.
Here comes the 8th guy again.
2nd down and 10, and they run it for 1 yard.
It's just a dare right now. It is just simply the New York Giants saying, hey, listen, you want to win this game, Mark Brunell, you're going to have to drop back and throw against our 2 corners, Will Peterson and Will Allen, in one-on-one situations. We are not going to let Clinton Portis beat us.
Now, I know Tim Lewis, what he would prefer to do is he would prefer to just stop the run with a 7-man front, but that's not what he's done here today. He's brought the 8th man down, opening it up one-on-one for these wide receivers, giving them some chances. Washington has to capitalize.
Blitz again on 3rd and 9. Brunell fires and incomplete. Gardner was the one closest to it, but it wasn't even that close.
Well, and it looked like Willie Peterson's just sitting on the route now, and And that's when they really start challenging. These corners, the good corners, start watching these receivers. They read their body motions as they're running their routes. And you start to see both Will Peterson and Will Allen develop more and more confidence as this game's moving along. And even there, Will Peterson sitting on the route, and that's why it was incomplete.
Beautiful punt by Tupa. Wow. Jones on the return, starting from inside the 20. He gets it out to the 24-yard line. And while we bring it inside the booth, all of the talk during the week about the Giants was with regard to the fines. And, you know, as you said earlier, in the way the New York writers like to write it, so-and-so was fined. In this case, Michael Strahan was fined for being early to the meeting. Well, it wasn't early to the meeting because their deal was they had to be there 5 minutes before the start of the meeting. All that stuff and all the rules is one thing. It doesn't work if the team's not going to win. Now they get a little momentum going, and some of that stuff, I would imagine, starts to slide away.
Well, there's no question. I mean, winning cures a lot of things, and when you're not winning, regardless of what it is that you're doing, there's a lot of frustrations. And if they're able to go on and win this ball game today, you'd be surprised how little talk you're going to hear about some of those things as next week moves along.
Screen pass to Tiki Barber. With blocking out in front of him, Barber is out to the 35 with a first down.
Jason Whittle with a nice job on LeVar Arrington on the outside as he gets out in front of the screen. And one of the things that the Redskins were so concerned about today were the Giants' ability to screen, whether it's a wide receiver screen, a screen to Tiki Barber. They feel like that the thing the Giants do best offensively is screen, and they have hurt them today with it.
On first down, Barber. What a run. Penalty flag on the play.
That looked like the penalty was going to be for face mask. You saw Tiki Barber get jerked all the way around. LeVar Arrington looked to be the guy who's guilty of it, as you see. No question about it.
There's no infraction on the play. He had the shoulder and the neck area is what he had.
Well, they didn't see our television copy, did they?
Well, first he had the face mask, and then he had the shoulder and the neck area. Giants bench got a good look at it. And that is one that the Giants just were ripped off of 15 yards.
And, of course, you can't challenge a penalty like that. And it's one of those unfortunate situations where even the referees look up and know they're wrong, and there's nothing you can do.
And now whistles before the snap. It's a first down for the Giants, but there's no doubt that Arrington got a piece of Barber's face mask right there. And then went to the shoulder and neck area.
Well, I'm assuming that they've gotten together to discuss whether, in fact, there was an infraction.
But if you do that after watching it on the Jumbotron, now you've got real issues with the league.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. How would they know? And you're right. I mean, unless they replayed it on the Jumbotron and big Tom White getting in the middle of it and saying, hey, maybe we made a mistake.
They came back and he said, you know, maybe we ought to talk about this thing here one time. I was just looking up with 70,000 other people, and we may have screwed that one up.
However, not only do they not move the ball or really talk about it all, they never made an announcement as to what they were talking about. Play will continue after the 2-minute warning. 17-7, the Giants with the ball and the lead.
Fox NFL Sundays brought to you by SBC. Going beyond the call.
Visa halftime report coming up. JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have scores and highlights from around the league. And the Fox Sports ticker will keep you up to date with up to the second stats. You can get more of this from the guys in the studio.
That's when he was rapping, right?
That ain't even right.
You got Usher and Little John and TV now.
Right.
There you go. Can you imagine him as a rapper up on stage, a couple gold chains? And
Yes.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want to see next week on 10 Yards with TV. How about that guy as a rapper?
Tom White just went over to Tom Coughlin. I think Coughlin's still, clearly upset about the no call. They picked up the flag. Then before the 2-minute warning, the officials huddled together, had a conversation, made no announcement. It's not reviewable. So the ball is sitting at the 46-yard line of the Giants' first down. And again, movement along the line of scrimmage for the Giants.
Well, and that's what happens.
Start. Number 67. 5-yard penalty. Remains. First down.
You could see Kurt Warner at the line of scrimmage trying to change protection. Washington was showing a blitz. Kurt Warner trying to change the protection in order to block it up. But those offensive linemen, when they get down in their stances, and there's a lot of talking going on at the line of scrimmage, sometimes they get a little antsy. Chris Nee did there and drew the flag.
The son-in-law.
Yeah.
Father-in-law is not going to be too happy with that one.
How tough does he have it?
Oh, boy. That's a death sentence.
First down and 15. That's Carter. But he was out of bounds. The official has his hat off. The official has his hat off along the sideline. He cannot be the first to come back in and be the first to touch it. And the officials will get together and determine if Carter was out of bounds before he was the first to touch the ball.
Yeah, and Walt Harris really didn't even redirect him all that well. That's close as to whether or not he actually got out, but he had plenty of room. There was no reason why he should have been forced out of bounds based on how Walt Harris, the corner, played him, and Tim Carter just made a mistake. Well, now they're saying he did not, in fact, go out of bounds, so it was a completion.
So the official who had his hat off and then got into the discussion was talked out of it. And on first down, it's Barber. Tiki Barber is flipped after he gained 8 by Matt Bowen.
Well, I tell you what, we should really take a moment to recognize this offensive line of the Giants. That was supposed to be one of the weakest offensive lines in the National Football League, and they've been doing a fantastic job across the board today.
On second down and 2, Carter. I have a feeling they're going to be featuring Tim Carter a lot more, as he has another first down for the Giants and a completion of 7.
Well, I think when you talk about the offensive line for the Giants, and so many people look back to the offensive line from a year ago and the struggles that they had, but this is a different group in a lot of ways. They got 3 different offensive linemen. Jason Whittle comes in right at the end of camp before the season opener. Sean O'Hara brought in, played with the Browns last year, and of course the son-in-law, Chris Nee, at right guard. Dave Deal changed positions, and then Luke Pettigrew, but they've been pretty solid here over the first 2 weeks of the season.
Redskins come with a blitz. That ball is batted and incomplete. Shockey, the intended receiver. Springs was coming off the corner.
I'll tell you the other guy that I think deserves a mention, and there's offensive coordinator John Hupnagel, who's been calling a brilliant game out there, but Kurt Warner reminds me a lot of Kurt Warner today. You have to go back a long time before you've seen a performance, and you saw a little bit of it against Philadelphia. I thought the Giants played pretty well offensively last week in that game and just were so far behind they couldn't get in the rhythm. But Kurt looked pretty good there, and today has really picked it up even another notch.
Second down and 10. Warner. That's Hilliard. That's another first down.
And with Kurt Warner's still getting used to this offense. He knew the Rams offense like the back of his hand. And here's a sign that he's starting to get comfortable. He's looking front side. He sees it's not there. He gets to his 3rd receiver. He goes from his 1st to his 3rd in the progression and is able to get the ball to Ike Hilliard. And when you see a quarterback do that, you know that he's starting to show signs of getting comfortable with what it is he's being asked to do within a system.
And Troy, I'll say this Washington Redskins defensive line is getting exposed right now. Last week, week when they blitzed, they got a lot of pressure on the quarterback. But now, because of the success they're having in one-on-one matchups on the outside, Greg Williams is not blitzing nearly enough. And this defensive line simply cannot get enough pressure on their own to have an impact on Kurt Warner.
Well, and remember, Jason Whittle, the left guard for the Giants, is playing with a broken hand. And one of the things that Greg Williams thought they could take advantage of is getting Cornelius Griffin lined up over him without any help from the center, Sean O'Hara, and they thought that would be a mismatch. So far, that's not been the case. Says a lot for what Jason Whittle's been able to do basically with one arm.
First down from the 11. Warner with pressure from behind. Pass is complete to Toomer. A gain of 6. And it was Ron Warner coming up the back of Kurt Warner just as he was getting it away.
Yeah, and where they were pretty good here was at least they made him go the outside long, hard way. Ron Warner, that's Jeremy Shockey who's trying to block him. But Kurt Warner just doing a good job today of sliding around in the pocket to deliver the ball.
This pass is incomplete. Again, it's Toomer, the intended receiver, and Hilliard was awful close to it as well.
You know, we were talking about it, watching Kurt Warner warm up today, and Greg Williams thought that when he was watching, it still looked like his thumb was bothering him, and maybe they had a chance to get the ball out. But when we were watching Kurt Warner warm up today, he didn't have anybody catching his passes. Now, most quarterbacks will stand there and have a receiver catch the ball, but they were throwing bullets back and forth, and he's catching it in his hands in all different sorts of man. Didn't even seem to be hesitating about trying to catch the ball. And I turned to Troy and I said, that thumb's got to be well. You're not doing that if you're not 100% healthy.
The Giants can get a first down without getting it in the end zone. This pass incomplete, and Warner is pounded by Bowen.
Yeah, it's Matt Bowen coming right up the gut, and I don't care what protection you're talking about for an offense, you don't let people run through the gaps, and that's what Matt Bowen was able to do here. He's right up the middle there, and Chris Snee along with Dave Deal, the right tackle, they need to be able to turn that thing down and pick it up, and they just let a free run on Kurt Warner.
You had the back in the backfield that took the outside guy. Clearly, you've got to go inside out there, pick up the inside blitzer, and then let the outside blitzer go, and he made the wrong choice.
22-yard field goal for Christie. 2 out of 3 on the day. Well, Eli Manning is on the sideline today for the Giants. Next week, it's a matchup of the Packers and the Colts. And highlighted within that matchup, Favre and Peyton Manning.
And I think that's the thing that's going to be so fun about that matchup is, you know, 2 of the greats. And, you know, one thing about it is you certainly don't get the sense that Brett Favre is ready to pass the torch to anybody. If he was, it probably would be Peyton Manning. But, boy, I still think he's got a lot of years left in him.
You know, and the thing that surprised me the other night, didn't shock me because they've been saying they were going to do it, but the way Green Bay blitzed. And Bob Slowick, the new defensive coordinator, he said from day one he was going to bring the pressure. He was going to come after people and not just sit back like the world-famous 4th and 26 play now from a season ago against Philadelphia. And, boy, did it ever show up. And, of course, what they can do offensively, just such great balance running and passing. They look like a dangerous team to me this year.
Yeah, and then how about Carolina and some of the injuries that they've had with Stephen Smith out now and Stephen Davis. Whole different look for that ball club.
37 seconds remain in this first half. Washington with 2 timeouts left. This is Morton. He needs a big return, and he's given it to him. Morton crosses midfield, and it's Christie, the kicker, that forces him out. That's exactly what the Redskins needed. 29 seconds left and 2 timeouts.
Well, this has been a problem for the New York Giants last year. You know, here you got a chance to shut them down prior to the half. Instead, you give up a big return. And now Washington with 29 seconds to go in the half. All they need is 1 completion, really, and they're in field goal position.
Well, except you also have to remember John Hall's over there riding a bicycle and wearing sweatpants. You have to wonder just how far he can kick one now.
Now he's warming up into the net. It's a 49-yard return by Morton. Redskins start with it from the Giants 45, and wide open is Coles. Brought down at the 29-yard line.
Now they need to come back and work that area. The Giants are playing some of that Tampa too, trying to drop a middle linebacker in there. And there are big gaping holes in the middle of the defense. We saw Gardner drop one earlier. This time they come back to Coles and it's wide open. Just a zone defense. You'll see Kevin Lewis dropping right back down the middle, but that's where the hole is.
Washington spends a timeout with a ball at the Giants 29.
I have to think the Redskins are going to be a lot more aggressive trying to score a touchdown in this situation because of the uncertainty with John Hall. That's a very gentle stroke for a field goal kicker warming up.
Well, they've got another timeout, so they can take a shot down the middle of the field, even if they're not able to get it in and get the ball stopped or get the clock stopped for the field goal.
Comes a blitz. Nope.
Giants back out of it. Brunell slides, brought down at the 23. And with the clock winding down, you're looking at roughly a 40-yard field goal try by Hall down in an area where he really struggled during pregame warm-ups, and he's already tweaked a hamstring once in this game.
Well, and the one thing we also know, Joe, here in Giant Stadium is what the wind does. I mean, you can't look at the flags at this stadium and have any idea exactly where the wind's coming from. It swirls tremendously. I know in pregame warm-ups, the wind was really blowing from sideline to sideline, and watching Hall kick at that time, he was struggling a little bit. So there are no certainties when you're here at Giant Stadium trying to make what you would think would be an easy field goal.
You know, we were watching him in pregame warm-up, really both kickers, and occasionally they'd line up from 50 yards and blast it through, and then the next time they kick it, it looked like it hit a wall and just would drop straight down.
Officially a 41-yard try. Trying to make it a 10-point game at the half. Good snap, good hold. The kick is long enough, and it hits the upright. This will be the first time since last year, Week 8 against the Jets, that the Giants will head into their locker room at the half with the lead. And it's a 13-point lead. So Hall and the rest of the Redskins limping off the field here at Giant Stadium. It's 20-7 at the half. The Visa Halftime Show is coming up. JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy right after these messages. And a word from your local Fox station.
The Visa Halftime Report is brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
All right, welcome to the Visa Halftime. Let's get you caught up on the action. Washington and the New York Giants. Giants capitalizing on Redskins' mistakes.
All right, Terry, get your tongue out of the way. Be clear here. This is Brunell. Bootlegs hits the rookie tight end Chris Cooley. 2-yard touchdown. Skins on top. 7-0. Back comes Warner. Down the middle, Tim Carter, the speedster. Two-way goal on the safety. Takes it to the post. 38-yard touchdown. We're tied at 7 until Clinton Portis. Don't do this. Not on the road. Not at somebody else's house. Barrett Green scoops it up. 16 yards left. Giants 14-7. Christie with a field goal. 20-7 Giants over the Redskins. Chicago and Green Bay. Favre, get out front, Brett. Lead it. Show the speed. There's a, hey, that's nice. Hey, that's pretty good. I like that. Amon Green, 25-yard pickup on that. Leads to a field goal, 3-0 Bears. All-out blitz. Rex Grossman finds his fullback, Brian Johnson. 11-yard touchdown. Hey, over Green Bay. Mike Vick had him on the 10-yard with Terry. Nice guy. I like this guy a lot. Vick, bootleg left. Anybody there? Turn it on. Reminds me so much of me, James, when I was just a youngin'. Down to the 2-yard line, Jeremy Butler knocked him down. And then on the next play, give it to Dunn. He takes it in. Touchdown, 14-0. Atlanta, 17-7 Atlanta over San Francisco at the half.
You saw Deuce McAllister being wheeled off with a high ankle sprain, but
there's Kevin Barlow, 2 touchdowns in the first half. It was a nice job of running. To the right, back to left for 10-yard touchdown. It's 10 off. Aaron Brooks in back, finds Jerome Paython. 37-yard score, 17-10. It's now 20-17 New Orleans over San Francisco. Carolina on the road, Kansas City. What a job by Jake Delhomme in the grass. Gets loose, didn't get loose, finds tight end Mangum, touchdown to 3 yards, 7-3. Pretty neat stuff. Priest Holmes, though, said, give it to him at the goal line. Over top. Looks like Howie when he was 4 years old playing outside. 10-7 KC over Carolina.
Chris Brown, 91 yards. Make that over 100 yards in the first half. That's why they're on top. Ravens got a touchdown first of the season by Jamal Lewis. Jonathan Ogden back on the line. Lions had won 4-5 at home. They're on top of Houston. First time those two teams are meeting. And Ernest Wilford's second touchdown catch of the season. That from Byron Leftwich. And hey, look at here. Critical series, Red Sox and Yankees. They meet 3 more times after this one. Yankees right now ahead 3-1. That in the top of the 5th, looking to make it 2 of 3 over the Boston Red Sox. Washington's offense, what's happening?
Well, Tom Coughlin knows his quarterback, Mark Brunell. Opening drive, they play base defense. Washington takes it right down the field and scores. Then Coughlin says, wait a minute now. We're going to commit the safety to the run, to stop the run. We're going to go single coverage on the wide receivers, and the single coverage set on those underneath routes because he can't throw the ball deep. The only thing that the Washington had, was the underneath route on the middle. Didn't have anything deep, didn't have anything short, couldn't run the football. Coughlin did a nice job of adjusting after that first drive.
Well, it's almost a mirror image of last week. Washington came out in the first quarter, exploded on offense. Then they kind of sputtered for 3 quarters, but they did avoid the costly turnovers, which they have not done today. Those 2 turnovers, of course, convert to points. Brunell throws the 2 picks. They're down. It takes them out of what they want to do on offense, and it takes them out of what they want to do on defense. Bowen, who was such a big part of last week's game with the 2 sacks, got exposed in coverage.
Would you give one of those pills to Jimmy? Jimmy, you need to settle down. You're going to red one.
By the way, folks, Bears have scored again. It's 20-3 Chicago over Green Bay.
We like it when Jimmy is fired up, and we'll tell you that the Visa halftime continues after this.
You're going to have something bad happen.
Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
The Giants got off to an awful start in this game, but at the half they lead 20-7, and a big reason why they've turned it around, the Giants defense forcing turnovers, getting 14 points off turnovers, including this by Barrett Green. The Giants lead by 13 at the half. Second half coming up from Giant Stadium right after this.
You're watching Fox Sports. Broadcasting at 720p and Dolby 5.1, the world's finest high-definition standard.
And at the half, 20 unanswered points put up by the Giants. You look at the stats. The points off turnovers actually total 17. 3 turnovers for the Washington Redskins. And it has been a day that offensively, after that terrible start by the Giants, has been dominated with twice the yardage as the Redskins. For the latest in fantasy stats, log on to foxsports.com. As you look at the 2 quarterbacks, and I think at this point, it's more of, wait a minute now. What happened in week 1?
Really?
How good was Washington? How bad were the Giants? And now it's just flipped totally around.
You know, who would have believed after the way this game started that it would have been the Giants defensively that turned the game around with the turnovers? And I think Tim Lewis just finally got to the point where he said, look, we've got nothing to lose at this point. They're running over us. They're running around us. They're throwing over us. Let's just dial up some blitzes and see what happens. And all of a sudden, the game just completely switched. The momentum turned around.
And that's why, really, if Washington's going to have a chance offensively, then they've got to take advantage of this aggressive style that the Giants are using, and they've got to be able to throw some shots down the field, much like what Jimmy Johnson said there during the halftime show. And how about the game that Kurt Warner's having right now? I mean, really, for someone who's still getting acclimated to what is being asked of him and learning a new offense, he's been exceptional.
Yeah, so much has happened during the course of the game. We haven't even been able to get into what Warner is asked to do at the line pre-snap. As Morton's looking for a big return. He had one right before halftime. There's a flag down as Morton gets it inside Giants territory. A 43-yard return, but this penalty is against the Redskins. So we'll get the call from Tom White.
And that just kills you when you're walking out offensively.
They're calling holding on 69 Molinaro on the return.
It's a good call. Completely unnecessary hold. Chad Morton was all the way through the hold. Just a bad play.
Boy, a major element of the game is missing when the referee's mic doesn't work. Huh? On first down, Brunel, penalty flag on the play. We're going to have to lip read again as Lavernius Coles has it knocked away by Peterson. What's it going to be? There's a good lip reader up there.
Well, that flag came out early. It might have been an illegal motion or an illegal shift of some kind.
That's exactly what it was. I didn't see it, but I saw the hand signal.
That's 87. That's Gardner. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, Tom Coughlin praising his team at halftime. He really liked their ability to get pressure on Mark Brunel. Expect more in the second half. He says we've got to do more of the same. Walking into the tunnel with the Redskins, LeVar Arrington very, very vocal. He reminded his teammates we got another half to play here. And he also said, he reprimanded rather, anybody that he saw walking along with their heads down. The body language police as well, Joe.
All right, Pam, thanks. Second down and 10. Something she said was interesting to me in that report as Williams makes the play coming up the back of Cooley. Wait 1 second. She said praising the team. Tom Coughlin praised the team. And isn't that the part of it? You can rule with a heavy hand as a head coach, but you also have to charm these guys a little bit. And you have to give them a wink here and a pat on the back. And you have to reinforce that they're doing the right thing. That has been more of the frustration with Coughlin so far.
Yeah, I think you're right, Joe. I mean, that's what you hear from the players is that they don't get enough of that, and they certainly earned it. I mean, you got to earn that, and they played well enough at the first half to at least get his praises, and it sounds like that's what they got.
So third down and 10 for the Redskins, and Brunel has to run, something he did so well in Jacksonville. Gets a block. What a block from Portis. And a first down for the Redskins out across their own 35.
Tell you, it looked to me like Mark Brunel was getting ready to take a slide. I thought he was going to go for the first down, slide down at that point, but wow, what a big block by Clinton Portis coming back, and not only the block, but then Mark Brunel seeing that he's going to get the block and staying in bounds and picking up some more yards.
And Mark Brunel, the veteran, saw the cover two-man with all the corners chasing underneath the wide receivers with their backs turned, knew it would be easy to run, and picked up a big first down.
21-yard run. Penalty flag on the play again. And Brunel again has to pull it down and run. This time he goes head first, and he's brought down just shy of the Redskins 40. Gain of 4. But there's a flag down.
And all indications are it's going to be against the Redskins once again. See if Tom will turn his mic on.
That might be his garage door opener on his hip instead of a microphone switch.
No, you laugh.
The gate here at Giant Stadium keeps going up and down every time he presses that thing, but the world can't hear what he's saying.
He fixes it the same way I fix my TV remote. It just bangs it a little.
They're in the top of the 8th inning at Yankee Stadium with the Yankees leading Boston 3-1. Pedro Martinez pitching in that game against Mike Messina. First down and 15. Brunel steps up, drops it off to Portis, incomplete. Well, Tom Coughlin told us the Giants didn't get there, and there's another penalty flag now. The Giants didn't get there on blitzes last week. They didn't get any pressure. And the last 3 consecutive plays, they've flushed Brunel out of the pocket.
And on the last play, they only rushed 4 guys. And so that's what you want to see. That's what Tim Lewis, that's what every defensive coach would want to see. Here's the penalty. It's a 5-yard. They say it made contact there beyond the 5 yards. That's, as we've talked about, the rule of emphasis this year. But they pick up the first down, and Yeah, I mean, you got when you think of the Giants defensively, really coming into this game, the only time that they had looked very good was in a preseason game against the New York Jets. The other 3 preseason games, and then last week they did not play well, but they have done a great job of mixing things up here today.
Linebacker Barrett Green is being looked at by the Giants team doctor as Portis gets it, and those holes just aren't there anymore. He picked up 2. And there is Barrett Green, who really had a good first half for New York.
He really did. Just so much speed, able to come on the blitz, able to cover in the backfield. And you watch him in practice, and he just looks like he's going at a different speed than the rest of the team. And if Barrett Green is not in there, boy, their linebacking core gets really young right now. You just have to wonder how they're going to hold up, and whether or not Joe Gibbs may try and take advantage and just go back to pounding it with Clinton Portis.
Carlos Emmons is already out inactive for today's game with a groin injury. On second down, Brunell fires, and it's nearly picked off by Grayson. In his hands, and he could not hang on.
Well, you can tell right now with Mark Brunell that he's just not been able to get into a zone. As we see, Nick Grayson had a golden opportunity of coming away with an interception, and Mark Brunell's just not seeing the field right now, and that happens when you're getting roughed up the way that he has, and you're having to move around within the pocket the way he has today. Very hard then to settle in and start seeing things the way you need to as a quarterback.
Brunell only 4 for his last 12. It's third down. And the pass is caught. Portis. And a first down at the 46. I haven't said the name Michael Strahan except on that fumble recovery. I haven't said his name all day.
Yeah, there's a good reason why. He's getting double teamed there by, Randy Thomas and then Brown as well. And he certainly draws a lot of attention more times than not. Michael Strahan, over his career, he's accustomed to getting double teamed. A lot of times he's able to fight through that, but you're right. We've not called his name much today. He's not been able to get back there on Mark very often.
He's had that pulled glute muscle. Maybe that's a factor out here as well.
That's really bothered his hamstring more than anything. Pass is back over the middle of the field, and it is complete for 11 yards to Robert Royal.
And the one thing that has given this Giants defense trouble all day long has been the bootleg. Michael Strahan's still on the sideline, so you have to believe that pulled muscle is becoming a problem. But Mark Brunell getting out of the pocket, going off the play action, really has probably been this team's best play thus far.
You know what I like so far when you watch the New York Giants in the secondaries, they're not allowing receivers to get yards after the catch. I mean, they've been able to complete some balls, but as soon as the receiver's catching the ball, you're seeing them getting tattooed by a defensive back.
And I think Mark Brunell is going to have to come out of the ball game. He was limping after that last throw, and now he comes right back and can't even make a handoff. Let's see, right at the end of this play, somehow he gets hurt and he starts limping. I can't tell if that's a hamstring or a twisted knee. I don't know exactly what it is, but literally he could not get out to make the handoff on that last play.
So that means Patrick Ramsey would have to come into the lineup as you look at the lineup, or rather the handoff from Brunell. So he is down and being looked at as he was just able to get it into the arms of Clinton Portis. Redskins moving the ball, but they may have to go with Ramsey now.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Nissan and your Nissan dealer.
Ramsey hands to Clinton Portis, and Portis picks up a first down for the Redskins. Ramsey had to come in for one play, but will continue in that huddle while they look at Brunell over on the bench. Last season, then a foot injury, and from week 12 on, he was inactive.
And really took a beating last year as a starting quarterback. Just was constantly pounding, constantly playing through a variety of different injuries, but it'll be different out here today with these protection schemes.
6-10 overall as a starter in the NFL, coming off the bench here, under pressure and now down. That's Robbins again. He's had a big game.
Well, maybe it won't be different. I tell you, the defensive front for New York has really been exceptional. of applying pressure. And normally that pressure for this team you would expect to come from the outside. But where you're seeing it now is they're overloading the center and up in the middle. And Fred Robbins is the guy who's been able to wreak havoc throughout the game today. Norman Hand getting some pressure as well. But they collapse the pocket and they give Patrick Ramsey just absolutely nowhere to step up to make the throw.
You can see they missed a face mask call. Brings up 2nd down and 16. Portis. Ball comes out. Giants have it again. Umanura on the return. Another turnover. And again, it's Clinton Portis who lays it on the turf. 2nd time he's done that today.
Well, normally Clinton Portis is a pretty sure-handed back. We talk about he does not fumble often, only twice now. Coming in the game, the guy hardly ever fumbles. But watch O.C. Umanura. He's the guy who puts pressure right there up the field. Watch him as he goes back inside, chasing it. Good things happen when you start following the ball, and he's able to recover the fumble.
Peterson, it looked like, knocked it out right there.
It's just unbelievable. 268 straight rushes without a fumble, and Clinton Portis looks more like Tiki Barber today, who led the league over the last couple of years in fumbles. Clinton Portis just can't hold on to it in fairly routine situations.
From their own 49, Warner and company start with a throw, and that's Shockey, the beloved tight end, a gain of 9. Let's go down for a report on Mark Brunell. Here's Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, as the Redskins defense tries to hold off the Giants, Mark Brunell currently on the sideline getting treatment. They are wrapping up his left hamstring. He may have strained it, and the Redskins say he probably will return. But right now, Patrick Ramsey is warmed up and ready to go.
I'll tell you what, I don't know about that. I mean, when you consider the fact that these quarterbacks are not getting a great deal of protection, you're going to have to be able to move around. If he's limited with a hamstring pull, I don't know how effective he can be.
2nd down and 1 for the Giants. That's Dane. And Dane has a New York 1st down. Let's go for a game break. Here's JB.
All right, Joe, I'm sure you've seen us a ton of times. Take a look at Mark Bulger. Nice pump fake here. Look at the adjustment, Chris Collinsworth, by Torrey Holt. He hauls it in. 7 catches for 90 yards. They had spotted the Falcons a 17-7 lead. It is now 17-14 Atlanta. Back, Joe, Troy, Chris, and Pam.
It looked like one of our NASCAR promos there, running around in a lot of left-hand turns.
Holt, who probably still doesn't get the credit as Shockey makes the catch. I don't think Holt gets the credit for being as good a receiver as he is. Everybody always wants to talk about Harrison and others, but Holt's right at the top.
Well, and what are they talking about this week because of the Monday night game? You know, Randy Moss, he comes out and says he's better than Terrell Owens because of all the coverages that they put in to stop him. And I tell you, I've said it for a few years now. Torrey Holt gets my nod, and I think he can do everything that he's asked to do. Deep, short, possession receiver, exceptional player.
2nd down and 2. Oh, what a play up the field by the former Giant Griffin.
Well, that's the plays that they'd been waiting for him to make for a long time in New York, and was a good player, but certainly never this kind of a football player. Is going to come right through uncontested, fight off the block, ding dong. Wow. He was the #1 free agent, though, that the Redskins went after this offseason.
3rd down and 4. Warner could run for it. Instead, he throws it incomplete for Toomer. Warner had a wide open field in front of him with a 1st down staring him in the face, but he tried to hit the home run.
Joe, you're absolutely right. He could have run easily. He could have run for 15 or 20 yards. Everybody's running off because it's man-to-man coverage, and instead he sees Toomer up the sideline knowing he's got a shot. Hard to argue with the decision. He had an open to Monty Toomer. Just failed to connect on it, but considering the fact he failed to complete it, could have picked up the easy 1st down.
51-yard try by Christie is a knuckleball that's short.
Wow.
And that gives Washington great field position.
What a turn of events right there. Kurt Warner would have still been running on that play, he might have picked up 20, 25 yards before he has to go out of bounds. They missed the kick. Now the Redskins come back with the great field position.
They're going to mark it at the 42 after this try. 51-yard miss by Christie. 20-7, the Giants are on top. 7:17 remaining in the third quarter, and Ramsey is still in a quarterback for Washington. From their own 42, Coles getting blocking out in front of him. And Lavernius is a yard shy of a first down. Let's go back to that 51-yard try by Christie and look at the snap and the hold.
Yeah, from what I could tell, it looked like, obviously, a great snap, and it looked like a good hold.
How'd the kick look?
not very good.
And Christie talking to Jeff Fiegels, the punter and holder. Was able to get it down, but Christie missed it by plenty. This is Liddell Betts, who picks up a first down for Washington. An 8-yard gain on 2nd down and 1.
And it looks like the Giants defensively may be forced out of a little bit of their blitz action without Barrett Green in there. He's the speed guy. He's the guy that really this pressure has been revolving around today. And when you bring in new young linebackers, sometimes as a defensive coordinator, you're just not quite as willing to try some of the stuff because they haven't practiced it nearly as much as what Barrett Green has.
That's Betts again inside the 40. You saw by that graphic that the Giants have led for longer today than they have total time leading games in their 9-game losing streak. They've lost 7 straight here at home, and the Giants are leading this one by 13 after spotting the Redskins 7. So Portis with the 2 fumbles is on the sideline watching. Ramsey down the sideline. Gardner. And the pass out of bounds. The catch, but Gardner came down out of bounds.
Well, they had Wilt Peterson locked up in man, and he's up pressed as well. And Rod Gardner tried to run a double move, and good coverage by Wilt Peterson. You know, the foot there, you see it just barely out of bounds, and that's why they called right there is the foot on the line. Good throw by Patrick Ramsey, recognizing that he couldn't lead him because of the coverage by Wilt Peterson. Gave him a shot, throwing it underneath off his back shoulder.
3rd down and 7. Blitz coming and penalty flags as the play clock shows 0. That'll make it 3rd down and 12.
And again, to get back to the point that John Hall is clearly not himself with the pulled hamstring. I was thinking that might have been 4-down territory as they were up there, that they could literally try to throw something underneath. And if you end up with a 4th and 1 or 2, go for it. It's going to make it a whole lot tougher.
Blitz coming, penalty flag again. That's Portis, could not make the catch. But a flag on the play.
Boy, what a great route by Clinton Portis, and he just has butterfingers today. Just had the singled up one-on-one coverage you dream about as a running back. Makes a great move to the inside and can't make the catch. Just going to come out and come right here. Just as easy as it can be for that, with a guy with that sort of athleticism. Doesn't turn his hips, doesn't make the play, and he's just had a really bad game today.
It was a false start call against the Redskins, so it wouldn't have counted anyway. They declined the penalty. The ball is snapped from the Giants 45. Tupa hits it off the side of his foot. And it takes a great Washington bounce down inside the 10. They'll mark it at the 8. It wasn't pretty. All Tupa can do is smile, but it worked. It's 27 Giants. It was 20-7 at the half. It's 20-7 with 5:15 to go in the third quarter. Handoff is to Dane. And Dane got half a yard.
And the Redskins were attacking on that one. That looked more like what we saw a week ago against Tampa Bay. Now when you've got a team backed up, you get a little more aggressive. You feel a little more confident. The problem is, though, every time that the Redskins have gotten a little cocky, they've been burned on their blitz by a screen, by a quick throw. Let's see if Greg Williams stays aggressive here.
On second down, out of the backfield, it's a fullback Finn. Hit first by Springs. Gain of 3.
Well, Greg Williams chose to bring pressure. He brought Marcus Washington off the edge. Jim Finn able to make the catch and get a few yards, get it into somewhat of a manageable third down. But this becomes a relatively important third down. If the Giants are unable to convert this, you're giving the ball back to Washington with good field position, and obviously still a lot of football left to be played.
See the Yankees starting to pull away from the Red Sox 7-1. Third down and 6. Warner fires, and what a catch by Toomer. But Amani Toomer is short of first down yardage, as Toomer really had to adjust on that catch, and a punt's coming up from the Giants.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that Kurt Warner's still working out with some of these receivers. And on that one, if you could tell that Kurt Warner thought Amani Toomer was going to do something differently than what he did, and that's why the ball was so errantly thrown behind him. He's running a square in, and Kurt thought he was going to stay outside. If he gets it to him on the move, it's an easy first down pickup.
I think Marcus Washington running out to that route may have forced him to throw it a little wider than he wanted to.
Fiegels with the punt. Morton from inside the 40. 6-yard return by Morton. The Redskins get it back, trying to get something going offensively, trailing by 13.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39. By Singular, the wireless company that fits you best. By HP, welcome to HP Digital Photography, click, print, invent. And by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
Now that's a sandwich.
Doesn't that look good?
That's one of our crew's favorite delis in Hoboken, New Jersey.
I think they got a little something for free out of doing that shot right there.
They will next time. Ramsey sprints out to the right and fires. Gardner. Oh, what a catch by Gardner. And he dives forward inside the 10. What a beautiful stretched out catch by Gardner. And it's good for 51 yards.
I didn't think he had a chance. When I saw this one thrown, I said, no way. Gardner's not really known for his speed. For the second straight week now, Will Allen gets beat by a double move, and Gardner just simply somehow stretched out far enough to get that ball. That is just phenomenal.
Well, the Redskins have taken some shots. They've been unable to capitalize. Finally, they're able to connect on a one-on-one deep ball.
Now first down and goal. Ramsey looking left, goes back over the middle. And the pass is caught by Coles, good for 5.
Yeah, I think when you think back to the years with Joe Gibbs before, and everybody obviously focuses on their great running teams, but you know, those teams that went on and won Super Bowls, they had great success throwing the football, and it surprised me that last week and then this week that they have had so many problems completing passes, because they've got a good receiving corps and they've got good quarterbacks.
And penalty flags and whistles prior to the snap.
Boy, I tell you, so many mistakes by the Redskins.
Number 60, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Well, when you think of Joe Gibbs, you think of no turnovers, no sacks, no penalties. Today we've had turnovers, sacks, and penalties that have really been the difference in this game.
Well, and a big thing here is what happens is it takes you then you know, what is a sure running down, and the teams that score touchdowns in the red zone are good running teams in this area, and now it almost becomes a passing down.
Second down and goal. Ramsey fires, and it's incomplete through the hands of Gardner.
And that's not the first ball that he's dropped. I mean, he dropped some last week. He also was able to make some big plays. He's made some catches here today as well, as we've noted, but he's dropped some very catchable balls that have kept drives from staying alive. And on this one, he drops a ball that goes in for the touchdown.
Add drops to my list. I forgot drops. You know, that can be a big thing, too.
Penalties, turnovers, drops, and sacks.
Sacks, yeah. A fourth category now.
Third down and goal. Ramsey steps up, and he's picked off in the end zone. Alexander.
Well, what you see is you're going to see Patrick Ramsey double clutch it. He's going to take a step. He has to step back up in because of the pressure. As a result, he's late getting the throw out, and you can't be late down in the red zone throwing it to the corner.
Alexander with the pick. A total of 5 turnovers from the Redskins today. There have been 5 dropped passes and a missed field goal. It's still a 13-point game as the Giants take over at their own 20. Shockey is hit immediately. Gain of 1. Tackled by Springs.
Well, first, the pressure is what creates this interception. Strahan comes down. O.C. Umenyiora there is what causes Ramsey to double clutch it. If he's able to throw on time to the corner of the end zone, he has a shot, but if he tries laying it out flat, Brent Alexander undercuts it, and that's why he was able to get the pick.
And Alexander brought here specifically to get some turnovers. We talked about the lack of interceptions from this Giants team. He's had 4 in each of the last 3 years.
Toss to Dane running left, and he is met by Washington. That'll bring up a 3rd and long, a loss of 2 on that run by Dane.
You know, that was really a critical interception. If they're able to go in there with the touchdown, if Rod Garner doesn't drop the ball in the end zone there, it's a 6-point game. They're right back in it now. You know, they've got to be able to come up with a big stop here against the Giants.
I don't think the Giants are going to take too many chances down in this zone. You don't want to turn it over here and make it easy on them.
That's going to be another false start on the Giants.
Boy, it's a good thing for the Redskins because that screen looked like it had a life to it.
False start. Number 67. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
That's a 3rd one on Chris Snee. We keep saying the son-in-law. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, he is the son-in-law of head coach Tom Coughlin.
Yeah, and father-in-law is not going to have him over for dinner this week either.
I bet you he wasn't late for the wedding.
We are at the end of the 3rd quarter, and the score is still what it was at the half, 20-7. Always be prompt. The Giants on time today so far. 15 minutes to go. The NFL on Fox will continue after a word from your local Fox station.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
The ball rests just inside the 14-yard line. 3rd down for the Giants. Kurt Warner on the day, 19 of 25 for 198 yards and a touchdown. 3rd down and 17. And they hand it off. That didn't fool the Redskins. Tiki Barber, no gain. That'll bring up 4th down and a punt coming from the Giants. That's Snee with a penalty prior to that 3rd down play. And then the little conversation on the sideline between Chris and his father-in-law and head coach Tom Coughlin. Eagles ready to punt. What's wrong with you? And it goes off the side of his foot. And Morton will be happy to see that thing check up. The ball will end up inside Giants territory. Only a 34-yard punt. Redskins great field position.
Fox NFL Sundays brought to you by Ford. The next Ford Super Duty. Tougher, stronger, smarter. By Star Wars Trilogy for the first time on DVD September 21st. By Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Eating good in the neighborhood, Applebee's. And by Best Buy. Thousands of possibilities. Get yours.
Artificial surface now at Giants Stadium. And the Redskins come to the line with the ball at the Giants 49, down by 13 points. Pass complete to Coles, trying to make a move, and he is brought down by Will Allen. Gain of 2. Our game summary: Mark Brunell, 10 out of 18, 92 yards. With a touchdown and an interception. He left the game with a hamstring injury. The day for Kurt Warner, and then the Giants on defense. 5 takeaways and a touchdown, which belongs to Barrett Green. Penalty flag again. And the pass makes Portis reach for it. Check the marker.
Yeah, that's on Rod Gardner. He's the wide receiver out here. The official, the side judge, he's watching it. And Patrick Ramsey's giving him a signal. They go no huddle. Gardner's in position into the last minute. He then moves his foot, readjusts his foot, and he gets called.
Just kind of been a sleepy day for the entire Redskins team, dropping balls and just making more mistakes than you would ever anticipate from this football team.
I think the thing that's really most surprising right now when you look at this game at 20-7 is that as bad as Washington has played on the offensive side of the ball with 5 turnovers, they're still very much alive in this game. 1 score, and they're right back in it.
If they can go 3 straight plays without a mistake.
Illegal shift, offense, number 87. Coming out of the huddle, he never got set while all the other people were moving at the same time. The 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
So that'll bring the ball all the way back to the 48-yard line of the Redskins. 2nd down and 13. Blitz coming from the Giants again. Ramsey's going to run. Penalty flag on the play. Ramsey slides for a 1st down. But there are 2 penalty flags on this play. An 18-yard gain, and we will get the call.
5-yard penalty. Number 94 will be enforced from the end of the run. 1st down.
Seen a lot of that today. Little grabs of the face masks. And one of the things the Giants have done a great job of today is take Clinton Portis out of the game. He's accounted for only 36% of the offense this week, 57% a week ago. And one of the ways they've done it is to blitz at him. They've kept him in the backfield, not allowed him to get out in the pass routes by blitzing straight at him, forcing him to block.
1st down, Washington. Another blitz from the Giants, and the pass over the middle is caught by Coles. Down inside the 15 to the 14. Here's a game break, and James Brown.
All right, Joe Buck, take a look. Falcons' 7-game losing skid to the Rams may come to an end. Excellent play by Brady Smith, stripping the ball out of Mark Bulger's hands. That is technically an interception. 31-17 Atlanta on top of St. Louis in the 4th. Back to Joe Buck.
All right, JB, thanks. Handoff is to Liddell Betts. He got a yard.
Well, the one thing we keep seeing from the Giants over and over and over is they continually bring pressure. I mean, it's obvious that they feel that the best way to stop this Washington offense is to bring pressure regardless, really, of what the situation is. That's 5 snaps in a row now that they have brought linebackers and brought secondary people on the blitz, matching up one-on-one outside, trying to get pressure on Patrick Ramsey.
2nd down and 9. Ramsey to the end zone for Portis. Clinton Portis has got it for the touchdown. Great throw, tremendous catch.
Well, Portis is going to get called for a taunt, Chris. He spiked the ball at the end of that play right into the defender's face. You can't do that. You're going to see at the very end of this, got Portis going down the middle of the field. They run it earlier with some success. Portis is going to get up right here and throw it right at the feet of Brent Alexander, which draws the flag.
And that time they did not blitz, which did not force Clinton Portis to stay in and block. He was able to get out of the backfield and catch the touchdown pass. They had been so successful keeping him in the backfield by blitzing. That time they back off and it cost them.
26, taking the ball right at the player. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
So that should, in the end, give the Giants very good field position after the kickoff. But right now, it's Hall out there to try and make it a 6-point game. Patrick Ramsey now has thrown an interception and a touchdown. All is good. It's a 6-point game. Clinton Portis out of the backfield. Very good throw. The catch. Portis hung on. The spike too close to Alexander. And it's 2014 New York. Clinton Portis gets the touchdown, then the penalty, and that means that Hall, who's already got the bad hamstring, is going to have to kick this one away from the 15-yard line. So the Giants should end up with very good field position. Ponder catches it just inside the 20. Willie Ponder out to the 45, and the ball comes out. The ball came out of the arms of Willie Ponder. Redskins are saying they have it. No official has said so yet. They continue to fight for the ball on the bottom of that pile, and it belongs to Washington.
Well, the Giants had a golden opportunity. They were going to get the ball in great field position with a chance to try to get points and turn this back into a 2-possession game. I tell you, and we're talking to Greg Williams, this is a team that spends time each week working on trying to strip the ball and create turnovers, and they've been able to do that today. Balls have been on the ground a lot. A critical time in the game where you got to be able to hang on to it. No excuse for putting that ball on the ground.
Especially after the 15-yard penalty was going to give you great field position regardless of what you did with that return.
Todd Franz came away with it. And now the Redskins have it at the Giants 45, down by 6. Ramsey fires. Gardner downfield, incomplete, and a penalty flag comes in.
I think you're going to get illegal contact down the field. Chris Cooley was working down the middle. And I believe it was Kevin Lewis with the late contact.
Illegal contact. Number 53, defense. It's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
I meant to say 59. They misidentified the offender, but it is Lewis, and it's 5 yards and a first down. Now the ball at the 40.
Yeah, I think that was a bad call. It looked like Chris Cooley was losing his balance. I didn't see, you know, if it's incidental contact, it's not to be called, and that's what it looked like to me.
On first down, it's Portis, and he gets swallowed up at the 40. Robbins.
Fred Robbins has been fantastic today. Former second-round pick of the Vikings, and has just been in the backfield of the Washington Redskins almost this entire day. We've seen him play a lot in Minnesota. Of course, there are so many questions about that defense, but apparently Fred Robbins wasn't a very big part of the problem.
Second down and 9. Giants come on a blitz. Redskins pick it up, and that's batted in the air, incomplete.
You know, we've talked so much about the pressure that the Giants have been showing today, and in talking with Joe Gibbs when he got when we did the game last week, we said, what's the difference in defenses from when you coached before to now? And he said, you see a lot more defenses coming after the offense and trying to dictate tempo. That's certainly what the Giants have done a great job of here today.
3rd down and 9. Ramsey fires, and that's Gardner. Penalty flag on the play. Gardner made the catch anyway.
And this could be offensive.
Could go either way.
Will Allen certainly looking to try to get it as an offensive call. I think it's going to go against Will Allen, however.
I'm not sure how it's going against Will Allen. That could be a no call.
Contact on the play. It takes the result of the play. First down.
Yeah, I agree. There's no foul there. If anything, it was offensive, but certainly not against Will Allen.
So they pick up the flag. It's a 1st down for Washington, and the ball is at the 27.
I tell you, other than the interception that Patrick Ramsey threw, how about the way he's come in off the bench and has been able to throw it and get this offense going?
Good zip on these passes, moving around. Portis was hit in the backfield, and it was Strahan who was the first to get his hands on the legs of Clinton Portis.
One of the things that we've seen from the Giants today is that when they do blitz, they're coming to the Redskins open-ended side. They're not blitzing to that double tight end set because for the most part those two guys are simply blockers. They're trying to come away from that 2 tight end set to the open side, which would be this side over here if in fact they're coming.
On 2nd down, Ramsey to put it out, does over the middle, and it is intercepted. Intercepted at the 10. Ramsey threw it right into the arms of Wilson, who's playing in his first action of the season for the Giants. When the Giants lost Stoutmeyer, Jabril Wilson got a chance to play, and Ramsey threw it right into his chest.
Well, he won't have an easier interception. Yeah, there was some concern having to put Jabril Wilson in the game because he has no experience, and just obviously a miscommunication between Patrick Ramsey and Lavernius Coles. I mean, Patrick Ramsey obviously feeling like Lavernius Coles was going to keep going on the inside, but an easy interception for Jabril Wilson.
I'm not so sure that Coles didn't slip trying to fake an outcut and come back, and when he slipped, there's nothing there.
6 turnovers for the Redskins as the Giants hand to Barber. No gain. And the Giants at some point here are going to be forced to move the football.
Well, I mean, there's no question, and it's absolutely amazing to me that with 6 turnovers, you're only down 6 points. And so this defense has done a good job for the Redskins. I mean, they've been able to play pretty tough. If they're able to hold them here, they're going to give the ball back once again to their offense with good field position.
Look at the numbers in the second half. The Giants haven't moved the ball at all. That pass is caught by Toomer. A 1st down out at the 24, a gain of 14.
And all the credit in the world that time to this much maligned offensive line of the New York Giants. They come on the blitz very calmly. This group up front handles it. They pick it all up and gives them time. Marcus Washington coming on the blitz, picked up nicely by Shenko. And then Toomer able to work the route one-on-one on the outside against Fred Smoot.
The reaction from Wilson after the interception. Cheering on this Giants offense. 1st down, New York. Warner throws out of bounds. Toomer, the intended receiver, and the pressure for the Redskins just got there a little late.
If there's one fault of Kurt Warner, sometimes he has a false sense of security within the pocket. I mean, sometimes he will hold on to it just feeling like he's going to continually get protection. This time he almost held on it a little bit too long as well, and Marcus Washington almost there to strip the ball.
And Shenko just relaxed that time. He thought he had the good protection, and Washington almost able to get back into play.
Second down, that's Barber, and he never got it. Incomplete pass. Antonio Pierce who's getting the starts these days in the middle in place of the injured Mike Barrow. And Pierce was there waiting. Toomer could not make the reception.
And Marcus Washington on the blitz again as the outside linebacker. And in talking with Greg Williams, he really believes that Marcus Washington is their best pass rusher, which is really saying something. He played some defensive end and linebacker as well. He's been used to rushing the passer, but does a great job because of his quickness as well as his power. He has a tremendous ability to collapse the pocket.
3rd down and 10.
We haven't seen much of Jeremy Shockey lately.
Redskins are all coming. Pass is incomplete, and that was timed brilliantly by Smoot. He got there when the ball got to Toomer.
He got there about as close as you can get there without drawing a flag. They come with the blitz. They want to force him into throwing a hot, getting it out quick, make the tackle if they complete it, and force him to punt. Nice job by Fred Smoot breaking on it. He knows they're bringing pressure as well. The ball's got to come out early, so he sits on the route and drives on the ball.
So the Giants got 1 first down. That's all they could muster. And now Morton on the return. Chad Morton, the former Jet, is out near the 43-yard line. A 6-yard return. The Redskins get it right back. They trail by 6.
Leon, Joe Buck. You guys are on in 20.
Hey, look at Joseph. Leon always stands on the left, you know, to showcase my good side. So
I always stand on the left, and I wouldn't even worry about it. You look great.
Yeah, this is very true. Leon doesn't have a bad side, but I'm just saying, you see that dimple? It's my trademark dimple, baby.
This is my good side, too.
Look here, Joe, I hate to be the one to tell you this, man, but if that's your good side, you may want to stick to radio, right?
Joe Buck here with the legendary Leon.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time.
The Washington Redskins getting another chance. Beetlejuice hello. 20-14, the Giants on top. Ramsey can't get the ball from under center, and it's loose.
And here we go again for the Redskins. The same problems they had a week ago.
Well, a lot of times this happens when a center has someone lined up over him, which is certainly what Lenny Friedman has. And
it just slipped.
Yeah, there's a tendency to short arm it, and the ball gets a little bit wet and never comes up.
That is the 3rd time now Lenny Friedman has lost control of a snap simply trying to get it up to the quarterback. This week in practice, they use wet balls. They dip them in a bucket of water and try and simulate the sweat and everything that goes on. But you just can't have that game after game.
Ramsey able to grab it again. But a loss makes it 2nd down and 15. Ramsey fires. Coles with a catch. What a move by Coles. Came down, was turning around as he came down, up the field, and he gets a first down for the Redskins.
Did you see the block by Clinton Portis at the end of this play? Watch Clinton, number 26. First of all, tremendous catch and run. And now Clinton Portis is going to come into your picture right there and just have a deep cleater. Clinton Portis maybe trying to atone for some of his earlier mistakes.
Joe Bugle praising Clinton Portis after game 1. Giving him that Rigo mentality that John Riggins had when he starred for Bugle and Gibbs.
We just love to see guys, especially guys getting paid $50 million or whatever it is that he's getting paid, still hustling after a play, getting down there. He's had a tough day, but you can see him getting back in the ball game. That touchdown catch seems to have him a little fired up now.
2nd down and 8. Ramsey flushed out of the pocket, gets rid of it. And waiting for it on the other end, the Giants. This time it's Alexander.
You have got to be kidding me.
3 interceptions thrown by Ramsey, 7 turnovers today for the Redskins.
Well, and again, it's like what happened down in the goal line earlier on his first interception. He's sprinting out. They're wanting to take a shot down the field, but because of pressure in his face, he's not able to throw it when he would like, so he tries to throw the ball late. You cannot throw the ball down the field that distance when you're not throwing it on time. There's 2 defenders down there, had no chance of completing that pass, and boy, right now you've got to be concerned. There's still a good chance that Washington's going to get the ball back with a chance to go in and win this game. You've got to wonder about the psyche of Patrick Ramsey after now having thrown 3 interceptions.
That ball was at least 15 yards short of where he would have had to get it to just have a chance. Ridiculous mistake.
Warner to throw. Completes it just shy of the 20. That's Ike Hilliard, a gain of 9.5.
Well, and this is where the Giants, I mean, they go into what they call the 4-minute offense, and they need to run down the clock and really take the good teams. And I don't know where New York is right now as far as being considered a good team, but if in fact they are, or they're going to be, this is a situation where when you have a little time on the clock and you've got a lead and you're trying to keep your defense from having to go back out on the field, you've got to be able to take time off the clock and sustain some drives. That was a good start there on first down.
2nd down and 1. They hand to Dane, and Dane's got a first down. For a guy like Gibbs, who had the 11-year layoff, he's probably thinking, well, it's a different decade, but it's more of the same at Giant Stadium. 6-7 in his career at this stadium. And instead of trying to figure out the head coaching style of Bill Parcells, defensive coordinator Bill Belichick, back during the 80s, think back to that January of '87 playoff game, the 17-0 victory for the Giants in their Super Bowl year, taking care of the Redskins, going on to win the Super Bowl. It's a different cast of characters, but more trouble for Gibbs here at the Meadowlands. Handoff is to Dane. Got a yard.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, Joe, I'll tell you, I mean, I played here, 12 times here at Giant Stadium, and we played some games here where the Giants were an awfully good football team, and those were always tough games, and we played here where the Giants were not such a good football team, and those were tough games. And it's a very difficult place to come in and play, and the reason for that is that these fans do a great job. And I know in talking with Kurt Warner yesterday, he was concerned, how are the fans going to react? And I think he even realized, however, if they come out and they play well early, get these fans behind them, they definitely enjoy a home field advantage.
Circling Shockey, and he drops it.
Wow.
Chris, you were calling for that. Shockey got it, couldn't hang on.
Well, they get him out in the slot. They get him isolated exactly where they want to have him, and he can't hold on to the ball. I mean, I know he hasn't played much in a long time, but boy, we sure have seen Jeremy Shockey with a lot of drops here in the first couple of weeks.
Well, that's boy, I mean, last week's drop was a critical drop. He goes in for the touchdown if he's able to make that one, but on this one, he's able to get it then into 3rd and short at the worst. Now they're looking at 3rd and 9.
And this is a blitz situation. They'll let him throw the slant, let him throw the hot, and make the tackle.
3rd down and 9. Blitz coming. Warner fires. Pass complete to Toomer. And he's got a Giants first down at the 35.
And what a job by the offensive line. We've talked about them a lot today and the job that they have done. But when the game's on the line and you got to be able to pick some people up, watch the job that they do. They give Kurt Warner a lane to step up. He's got clear vision at the wide receiver, and you go out there and practice with no defenders and you can't get a better look at than that.
I'm really surprised, though. They just brought 4. They did blitz one of the defensive backs, but that has been pretty typical, a strong blitz situation right there for Greg Williams, and for whatever reason, he's been intimidated out of his typical game plan because of the play of Kurt Warner and Tiki Barber and some of the things that they've done.
With 3:16 left, the Giants, with the play clock winding down, have to spend a timeout. First down for New York when we return. After a poor first possession on the part of the Redskins, the poor part on the part of the New York Giants defense, they have really stepped up and played a very good game. 7 turnovers for the Redskins today. The last time they've committed 7 turnovers, 1989 against Howie's Raiders. Lost that game 37 to 24. And now they trail, the Redskins do, by 6. With 3:16 remaining. First down, New York. That's Tiki Barber holding on to the football with both arms. No gain.
Well, now if you're the Giants, I mean, clearly you want them to have to burn their timeouts and keep the clock running, which is, you know, Washington's not calling timeout here. They will, I would imagine, after this play. But at the same time, you can't lose your aggressiveness. You got to do what you've done to get to this point by picking up first downs. You've got to be committed to throwing the football and keeping this drive alive.
Second down and 10 with the Giants. The ball resting at their own 35, trying to run the play clock down as far as they can. They hand the ball to Tiki Barber. He doesn't get much, and now the Redskins do indeed spend their first timeout of this second half. We look at what's going on in this second half. Mark Brunell had to leave, injuring his hamstring. Patrick Ramsey took over. He has thrown 3 interceptions. He has thrown a touchdown pass, did so to Clinton Portis. He gave one to Wilson and this one to Alexander. 3 interceptions, 7 turnovers on the day. And yet, if you are just joining us, you would probably be surprised to know that after all of that, the Redskins are down by only 6 points with 2:25 to go.
And I tell you what, for Patrick Ramsey, he will never be Joe Gibbs' quarterback if he keeps playing like he is right now. You will not survive as that man's quarterback if you're going to turn it over, throw it up carelessly, as he's done. And really the last turnover, probably the worst, just trying to bail it out of there, throwing it up for grabs, and really cost his football team.
Well, big third down here, and if the Giants are unable to get it, Patrick Ramsey, he just got to regroup, put that out of his head, and try to go win a football game for his team.
Third down and 9. Extra men on the rush, and the pass is incomplete. Toomer, the intended receiver, and the Redskins will get it back.
The Redskins did a great job that time of keeping Tiki Barber from releasing. As he starts to come out here on this hot read, they simply get their hands on him, reposition him. They were all over Tiki Barber with 2 guys that time, not going to allow him to come out and catch the easy pass.
And the other part of that is Washington still has 2 timeouts left.
Fiegels with an ugly punt. It takes a bounce and will go out of bounds just inside the 25. They'll mark it at the 24. Next Sunday, some exciting games on the calendar and on Fox for you. Early, the Eagles at the Lions, Bears at Vikings. What a day for the Bears so far today at Green Bay. And then late, we're all excited about watching the Green Bay Packers visiting Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts. 2:11 remaining. And again, the Redskins with 2 timeouts left. The ball is at their own 24.
And I think what happens, Joe, when you're a quarterback and you've had some of the bad things happen to you like Patrick Ramsey has, there's a tendency to start trying to aim the ball and be too careful with it. They can't afford for him not to turn it loose and trust his instincts.
Late defensive substitutions for the Giants. As Ramsey will go down, a sack. And that's William Joseph. Last year's first-round pick, who up to this point hadn't made any dent in this Giants defense, and he makes a dent in the Redskins' hopes as we are at the 2-minute warning here at Giants Stadium. Not a good start for the Redskins, down by 6, 2 minutes left.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Sprint PCS Picture Mail. It's easy for football fans to shoot, send, and share football moments.
This crowd is ready to roar. Second down and 16. Two minutes remaining. Second down and 16 for the Redskins. Ramsey to throw on second down over the middle, and it's another drop for Washington. Lavernius Coles.
Can't blame that one on Patrick Ramsey. He did a great job of standing in under tremendous pressure. The offensive line holds up. He's just going to flick it over the top. Really can't ask for a better throw than that under these circumstances. Lavernius Coles just dropped it.
The numbers for Patrick Ramsey in our game summary: 8 out of 16, 3 interceptions. Brunell went out with a bad hamstring, and a good, efficient day for Warner. 7 Washington turnovers, down by 6. It's 3rd and 16, and this is Coles with a diving catch. Brought down short of first down yardage by 4 yards.
Well, big decision here to be made, and the decision's been made. They're obviously going for it here on 4th down. They could have maybe tried to punt it with 2 timeouts and try to stop them, but this is the ball game right here.
I don't think so.
On 4th down, the pass incomplete, and the Giants will take over on downs. Wilson, the rookie, there to break it up. Stepped in front of Portis, and the New York Giants are staring at their first victory of the season.
You could not have believed that this was the same Giant defense that we saw last week in Philadelphia, that we saw on the first drive today. They were simply horrible. Horrible. And they have come back since that opening drive and been fantastic today. I mean, you really have to give this secondary credit. Guys have stepped up all the way. Will Peterson, Will Allen. The pressure has been there. Just a different defense today.
I know a lot of this is going to be laid on the feet of Patrick Ramsey after throwing the 3 interceptions. Just go back to the drop balls. He doesn't throw the 1 interception in the end zone. If Ron Gardner catches it for the touchdown.
Tiki Barber, his first objective is to hang on to the football, gets 3.
And then, of course, they pick up the first down if Lavernius Coles is able to make the catch there on 2nd down. Not a great game by any means by Patrick Ramsey, but a lot of people failed to play at the level that they're capable of playing. And even having said that, they were in a position here in the 4th quarter under 2 minutes with a chance to try to win the game.
Well, you can't win when your stars play poorly, and that's what happened today. Clinton Portis with 2 fumbles, Mark Brunell with the interception, Patrick Ramsey throwing 3 interceptions, Lavernius Coles dropping balls, Rod Gardner dropping balls. It was just a very, very poor performance by the Redskins in a game that they're going to look back and say that's one we really probably should have won.
Long streaks are in play here, and figured all come to an end. Days since the last win overall at home. Coughlin will get his first win since his days with the Jaguars, and Kurt Warner will get his first win since a couple of years ago, that NFC Championship victory over Philadelphia. That's how long it's been for Warner. 2nd down and 7. Tiki Barber stays on his feet, gets a couple of extra yards, a gain of 5. Our game is being produced by Richie Zients and directed by Artie Kemner. Technical producer is Dave Hill. Thanks to Steve Horn here in the booth assisting us. Production coordinator is John Ward. Technical director is Rich Basili, the audio mixer is Fred Aldis. Associate directors are Greg Scopatoni, Derek Manning. Broadcast associates are Judy Huang and Jeremy Green. The pregame show produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The associate director is Stephanie Medina. Studio technical supervisor Jack Simmons. The senior producer of Fox Sports Bill Brown. And the executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorn and David Hill. And all of those people tell me it's time for a game break. Here's James Brown.
All right, Joe Buck. New Orleans was trailing 27-23 to San Francisco when Aaron Brooks gets on the drive here, hooking up with Dante Stallworth. That score right there put them ahead with less than a minute remaining. Let's go back to Joe Buck.
What a comeback. Here is Tiki Barber. He is brought down after a loss of 1. And that will bring up 4th down. If they want to try a field goal, this would be a 42-yard try. Washington out of timeouts, and Warner is going to stay on the field.
Yeah, and this is probably the right decision. And I'm not so sure they're going to. Looks like he's going to run this thing down and then make the decision as to whether or not they're going to attempt a field goal or just try to go for it on 4th down.
So that decision for Tom Coughlin, who has been under fire all week.
Timeout, Giants.
He is trying to keep his team focused. I think his main frustration is all week. The media up here wanted to talk to the players about the fines and about the Strahan situation, about the appeals by these players to the Players Association, and nobody wanted to talk about how the team was playing, what was coming up in the Redskin game. And to the Giants players' credit and to Coughlin and his staff's credit, they've gotten it together enough to come up with what it appears is going to be their first win of the season.
Well, and I agree, Joe, and certainly it was discussed quite a bit on the pregame show, and we've talked a little bit about it, about Tom Coughlin's style. And really all that you ultimately have to go off of is how do they go out and perform on Sunday. This team was well prepared, and they came in here after a very difficult week when there was not much attention on the game of football, but rather his policies, and they've had an excellent showing, and they should be proud of the way they've come out here and performed.
I don't think it distracted Tom Coughlin. I don't think you can throw him off his focus.
Instead of attempting a field goal, which might be considered risky, they tossed to Barber, which in years past would be considered risky. He hangs on to the football. Washington on the tackle, a loss of 5, and now the Redskins will take over. No timeouts left, needing to get into the end zone, and 18 seconds on the clock.
And I really think that in this situation now you have to try and work something down the sideline. You have to get yourself in Hail Mary range. Right now they obviously can't throw it into the end zone, but if you throw some kind of a 20-yard out, comeback, something like that, now all of a sudden your last play of the game can be in the end zone. So this is really a two-play combination right here.
Three-man rush for the Giants. And Washington gets there and knocks it away. It's unbelievable with only a three-man rush that Keith Washington can get around the edge and knock it out of the hands of Ramsey to end this day.
You know, it's funny, you see it all the time, a three-man rush, and sometimes those are the most effective rushes because the guys that aren't blocking anybody never get involved to help out.
And congratulations to Tom Coughlin and to Kurt Warner for ending a couple of streaks.
All smiles from Tom Coughlin, and maybe this Giants team can loosen up a little bit. The final play of the day out of the hand of Ramsey ends it. We'll be back here after this break. Giants win it 2014.
It's only week 2 of the NFL, and already battles of titanic proportions across the league. Speaking of which, Colts at Titans, battle of co-MVPs. Could the Colts steal the W in Tennessee? Panthers at Chiefs. Which Super Bowl contender will start 0-2? Bronx at Jags. Does Jacksonville have the D to ground Denver's high-powered offense? Bears at Packers. Could an upset really be brewing in this rivalry on the Tundra? Can the Seahawks really win 2 straight on the road? A very special day in Arizona. What better way to remember a hero than by hosting the Patriots? A Sunday full of surprises. Next, week 2 of NFL Primetime.
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
And hello once again, everybody. Welcome to NFL Primetime. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, 18 years we've been churning it out. And is the last Sunday of summer already?
Yeah, I just know that there's a big difference between what happened last Sunday and what happened this Sunday.
Well, a little tense because teams like the Colts, we'll see them later, and like the Panthers and the Chiefs, it could start 0-2. Panthers-Chiefs playing at Arrowhead. Let's go right to that game. 2 of the best teams in the NFL last year and some of the best players like Priest Holmes. 13 regular season straight wins at home. Now, we know that Stephen Davis was hurt, and that meant Deshaun Foster was in replacing Davis. But daylight come, and you got it, Delhomme. Look at Jake Delhomme. He ad-libs this pass to Chris Mangum Force.
Yeah, and Monty Beasel gets a good shot on him right there. Can't get him on the ground. And I have no idea how Delhomme was able to spot Magnum and get him the football.
He has the forget. You think that the one Priest Holmes might get? Yes, it's a touchdown. Priest Holmes touchdown, 10-7 the Chiefs. Now, third quarter, 3rd and 7 Panthers, much lower scoring game. Delhomme Well, that's Kerry Colbert, first NFL catcher. He would be Steve Smith's replacement. Now, later in the drive, never mind, it's Colbert that catches his 9-yard touchdown, and it's 14-10 the Panthers. And so Colbert, coming in, the rookie, played at USC last year, 14-10. It's 21-17, Panthers and Deshaun Foster. He could go just about all the way. And Panthers haven't been around that long. It's the longest run in their team history, 71 yards inside the 5. And then he did the work, give him the touchdown. And the Carolina Panthers give the Chiefs a rare home loss. Their only loss last year at home was in the playoffs of the Colts. 28-17, Carolina wins it. Foster had 174 yards, 3 touchdown passes for Delhomme. Carolina had the ball for 35 minutes in this game. And now this Chief offense, A, was shut down by Carolina. B, Tommy, look, they got to play some defense, Kansas City, or they're going to be in a lot of trouble. I know they won without a great defense or without even a good defense last year, but I think it's catching up to them. Do you agree?
Kansas City had their problems for the second week of this season, but I want to give credit to this Carolina offense. They went in that stadium without Stephen Davis, with an offensive line that's just really beginning to feel some cohesion. No Steve Smith, and they did it by running the football and attacking with the lead. That's Brad Hoover in the circle. He's going to lead on Monty Beasel right there. This is a backup middle linebacker. Once he controls him, Deshaun Foster going to make the cut right off of there, get to the outside, and get good yardage. Same thing again. You've got Brad Hoover on the lead. He's going to be looking for Monty Beasel, control the middle linebacker, make the cut off of him. And there you see he's through the hole for a 71-yard run. And when you talk about that time of possession that Boom just talked about, that's all about 176 yards rushing for Deshaun Foster. That's what gave him time of possession. That helps them both ways, offensively, defensively as well.
Chiefs, look, coming from behind. Look, they obviously have the offense to do it, but they don't have. You pointed out earlier when we were discussing it, right?
Yeah.
They don't have the kind of wide.
They don't have the kind of wideouts where if they have to make up 10, 14 points, they're going to be able to do what the Indianapolis Colts do. You're going to have to go down and run Priest Holmes, control the football, and play action pass off of it.
And Carolina, so resilient on the road last year. This is a team on the ropes. They go into their bye week at 1-1 with a win at Arrowhead, not 0-2, and wondering if they'll get back. A big win for the Carolina Panthers when we return. Well, they lost, of course, to Brett Favre and the Packers. Pack at home against the Bears, so this would be a laugher, right? Well, depends which side you want to laugh on. Deion Sanders playing some D, returning some punts until he got hurt, but the Ravens trying to get off the schneid against Pittsburgh. And Mike Vick in the Falcons' home opener against the St. Louis Rams, a team that had beaten them 7 straight times. Would they end it?
NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. Grab yourself a great-tasting low-carb Miller Lite. And in part by the new CircuitCity.com. Log on today for your chance to win a plasma TV makeover. And Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game. Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
2002 draft, David Carr picked first overall by Houston and picked third overall Joey Harrington by Detroit. First time they would play against each other as pros. Lions lead 7-3 in the third. Harrington, Roy Williams, their first round draft pick. How about this play as Harrington and Williams, they've got something going already.
Yeah, this is cover 1, 3 deep. You see the 3 deep guys going right there. You're covering a third. The safety in the corner going to make a break on the ball. And Roy Williams makes this look so effortless.
He does.
He just does something, he does it, and it looks really easy.
Well, Carr has his young target from last year's draft, and that's Andre Johnson. 54 yards, and now it's a 14-10 Detroit lead. Houston back in it. But last week we saw Dre Bly on the Detroit special teams. This time, Eddie Janitor in a Drummond. Got behind the wall, kicker with no angle, and he could go all the way. Nice block down to Springer for the last 10 yards. Detroit special teams, youthful exuberance and paying off there. 21-10 Detroit. Now fourth quarter. Watch David Carr. Whoop, whoop. And somehow he throws it, and this finds Bradford for 27 yards. They go for 2, miss it, 21-16. Under 5 minutes to go in the game. I want you to watch Roy Williams here. Whoa, Nelly. 14 yards, Harrington to Williams, touchdown.
You know, take another look and realize he's used to getting 1 foot inbound in college. Now it's 2 feet. He seems to have picked it up, boom.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Detroit Lions are 2-0. They beat Houston 28-16. And Williams caught just the 4 balls, but you saw the 2 for the touchdowns. So a good show put on by Harrington and Carr. The Lions, I'm telling you, they're going somewhere. They are. 49ers at the Saints. Now, New Orleans, their second home game, lost last week. San Francisco had to start Ken Dorsey. He had the scintillating mark at the University of Miami and a 1 national championship. First quarter, Niners knocked Deuce McAllister out of the game after it's a fumble. They get on the ball, sprained right ankle, MRI tomorrow on Deuce. The Niners can play some defense now. They do have some defensive players, even though some of their starters were hurt. 10-3 Saints second quarter. Kevin Barlow shifts fields, gets a little block, touchdown. 10-yard run, ties it at 10. Now, with 7 minutes to go, we're up to 23-20 Saints. Jamal Robertson, 1-yard run. The Niners thinking upset, lead 27-23. Later in the fourth, Niners trying to just pick up yards and run. Oh, it's a fumble. And Jay Bellamy, one of the Bellamy brothers, lets his love show. And the Saints are in business. Minute to go. Down 27-23. Aaron Brooks. Dante Stallworth. 30-27. But we're not done. Because Ken Dorsey, he wins. And so the Niners have this little screen pass to Terry Jackson, one of Tom's cousins. And look at this one go. To the 20, 15, 10, 5. The Niners in business, but a flag on the play, Tom. Offensive pass interference on Brandon Lloyd.
And you won't be able to see the other part of this pass, but Brandon Lloyd goes out and evidently engaged the corner as the ball was in the air before it was caught. You know it was close. You know it was a close play. That's a judgment call on the part of the official.
Tight call. Tough call to make there. And then Dorsey just hoping with seconds left. And it's picked up by Ashley Ambrose on his way to Terra. So the Niners game twice against the Falcons and Saints, but 0-2. And the Saints tiptoe through and win it 30-27 as despite being outgained in the game by San Francisco. Stallworth caught 9, Horn 8, Curtis Conway 8 for San Francisco.
And you look at the numbers for Aaron Brooks, and I think this is the way that Aaron Brooks can play. 25 of 34, 279, and 3 touchdowns, taking advantage of all those Saints weapons.
Well, 4 games involving teams that were 1-0, Tom, and that includes this one, Denver at Jacksonville, and Jacksonville's home opener. Denver figuring, let's get used to the surroundings in case we're there for the Super Bowl, but Ernest Wilford, remember, Leftwich hit him with the winner last week against Buffalo. He did it again. The rookie from Virginia Tech at 7-0 Jacksonville. Quentin Griffin not running against the Chiefs today. Jags defense tough. That's Marcus Stroud. Meanwhile, Jake Plummer decides to throw right-handed today. Swings it to Griffin. And look at the Jags D swarm. They play that D now.
Swarming defense, good front seven. Everybody knows what their assignments are, and they trust each other defensively.
Champ Bailey on offense. He's no longer the champ. He's down to the 7th-ranked contender. He dropped the ball. 2:20 to go. 3rd and 4. Jake Plummer, Darius Watts. Hold on now. A blow to the head by Lionel Barnes, and so the drive continued.
And even though it wasn't a hard blow, it was, in fact, a blow to the head of the quarterback, and you can't do it in this league. It's going to be called.
So, look, the Broncos trying to cling to the 7-6, but meanwhile, Plummer to Nate Jackson, one of Tommy's third cousins. They're in field goal range. You know Jason Elam can kick him from anywhere, and on 3rd and 8, the Broncos setting up Elam, but either Griffin never got it or Plummer never got it to him right. It's a fumble, and the Jags have the ball.
You take another look at the handoff. It looks like Jake gets the ball up to his gut, but for some reason they don't handle the exchange. And again, we talk about it all the time. You can't have a fumble down in that position when you've got a chance to score.
So the Jaguars win it 7-6. So they win 13-10 and 7-6, but they're the team that's 2-0. And by the way, that makes 17 straight games they have not allowed a rusher to run for 100 yards, including Quentin Griffin on this day. And boy, they beat Buffalo and they beat Denver, kind of like for you Jag fans, 96. Those two teams they beat in the playoffs on that.
And you mentioned it while we were watching the film, thinking all the way back to last year, very Panther-like these first two games. We just throw it out there. From last year.
An unknown Sun Belt team kind of winning these tight games. When we return, Clinton Portis, the other half of that trade. How would he do with the Redskins? In the G-Men. And a battle of co-MVPs. Steve McNair against Peyton Manning, Titans, Colts in our prime cut of Week 2. We'll be back.
By the numbers. Brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
Well, it's certainly been fun for Brett Favre, especially when he plays the oldest rivalry in the book, the Packers against the Bears. He's 20-4 against them. They've won the last 7 meetings. Even Lovie Smith, the new Bears coach, says it's not a rivalry until we uphold our part of the bargain and at least get close or beat them a couple of times. So with all those numbers, and as good as the Packers looked on Monday night, and the Bears still trying to sort out the new regime, and we're at Lambeau Field for the Packers home opener, this was going to be easy. Packers. That's why they play the games. Here we go from Lambeau Field, and they played a lot of them at Lambeau Field.
I love that.
168 times the Packers and the Bears have played. Amon Green gets ahead of him. Look at Brett make a block here on Mike Brown to help Green get 35 yards. Looks like he's off to another big game, Tom.
You know, want to know what makes Brett Favre special? You know, he doesn't get Mike Brown down on the ground, but the fact that he goes out there and throws his body around and tries to make that block special.
Now here is Mike Green picking off just, and Brett will air it out. You figure, well, all right, Mike Green picked it off down at the 6 along.
The block on Brett Favre to get it all started. You don't go 94 until you go to first 15. That's a great play by Brian Urlacher.
Meanwhile, Thomas Jones is going to run. Look at him go! 54 yards until he's dragged down by Mike McKenzie. He's back in the action, but Jones' touchdown made it 21-3 Chicago. Then Favre to Robert Ferguson. Not so fast. Late third, Pack making a rally, 21-10. But still the score, late fourth, 4th and 8. Watch, again, Brian Urlacher roaming. Buster gets to Favre, and then Brett just tried it. What? And the Chicago Bears, in a huge upset, go into Lambeau Field and beat the Green Bay Packers 21-10. Jones with 152 yards rushing, and despite the Bears, despite the fact they were gained by 100 yards, they got the big plays this time from Mike Brown and Mike Green, whatever color you wanted. It was the Bears upholding their end of the bargain.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of it the first 2 weeks of the season. Turnovers close to the other team's goal line. That's a 14-point turnaround. That's the key to that game.
And they, running. This was something the Bears did. Now, what did they expose the Packers on?
We talked about interior run offense. When we talked about Carolina, we're talking about interior rush offense as we talk about the Chicago Bears as well. You want to establish the run, control the tempo of the game. They were able to do that. Thomas Jones was going to be the guy in the spotlight here. You look at the line, you get the guard pull. We talked about it this morning on primetime. 6-hole, a lot of ways to get to it. Here, the pulling guard, he makes that cut off that block, and he is off to the races, drugged down on about the 16-yard line. Again, out of the I formation. This is a run formation. Again, weak side down at the bottom of your screen. Slot open is what you're looking at. Again, you get the pull. They attack again the other way. 6-hole, if you will, makes the cutoff of it back inside. Going straight downhill, what we call a straight line runner. Running downhill, it's the way you attack a defense and you give them the most punishment.
And congratulations to Lovie Smith for his first win as an NFL head coach. Mora had his last week, and now the only one left to see is Mike Mularkey, of the guys who have never coached head coach before. Well, this guy's had a couple of wins. And so is he. But I'm talking about Joe Gibbs, Redskins into the Meadowlands to face Tom Coughlin. Little griping, but you know what? The Giants were there way early for everything. Mark Brunell sacked by Fred Robinson. Michael Strahan arrives in the pocket 7 minutes early, and they have the football. Next play of the Giants. Kurt Warner looked good today, Tom, huh? He throws deep for Tim Carter. The Sarge. Touchdown. Warner, 22 of 33, no picks. But turnovers, well, it was a bakery for the Redskins. Clinton Portis, it's a fumble. Barrett Green had the tie on for the meeting and a touchdown. The Giants lead 14-7 on a 16-yard fumble recovery. Then more Giants defense. Boy, were they swarming Mark Brunell. Tricky Redskins, but forget about it. Tipped and picked by the big fella, Fred Robbins. One of 31 flavors, Baskin and Robbins. Third turnovers for the Skins.
Yeah, great job of tipping the ball, bringing it down, getting the interception. Quarterbacks have to understand there are times to eat the football. You don't want to throw it up for grabs, especially in your own territory.
And then Brunell came up limping. He's day-to-day. Skins don't play their next Monday night. Leaves with a left hamstring injury. So the Skins are down 20-7. And Patrick Ramsey, who's a good one, throws it deep to Rod Gardner. This is nice, 51 yards. So the Redskins maybe still feel, despite the turnovers, they're in business. Ramsey throws to the corner, but Brent Alexander is there. Again, the Giants early on double coverage. Still 20-7. Portis running. And it's going to be a fumble. OCU Minori picks it up. 5 turnovers for the Skins. Now it's 20-14. Gabriel Wilson, rookie, picks off Ramsey. 6 turnovers. And then Brent Alexander makes another pick. 7 turnovers. Oh, by the way, also 4 sacks turned in by the Giant defense. You know what? I told you on Countdown they're going to return the opening kick at 12:55 and get a jump. They were all getting a jump on the Redskins all day long. And, boy, Joe Gibbs hadn't lost a game in 12 years. He finally lost one. Giants 20-14. And in a puzzler, and I think Warner looked good.
I think that's the key that you take away from this game. We've seen Kurt Warner. We haven't seen him play well for a long time. He stepped up in the pocket today and threw the ball awfully well.
And the Giants win it, and they end the Skins 1-1. When we return, Dion against the Steelers. Could the Ravens win their home opener? Talk about electricity. How about Mike Vick? Falcons looking to go 2-0 if they can against the Rams. Team that they hadn't beaten 7 straight times. We'll be back. Steelers, Ravens. And Dion and Ray Lewis ready.
We know we don't like that other side. We don't like nothing about them. We don't like nothing about the people over there. Nothing. Nothing.
Well, the Ravens in their home opener, and they mean business. Terrell Suggs sacking Tommy Maddox. Ravens defense. Now, they know that Pittsburgh has beaten them 6 of the last 8, but boy, Baltimore brought the D. Maddox pressured again by Suggs. Intentional grounding. Maddox fiery. I don't know that I would take on the Ravens in this house. Of course, Bill Cowher hates the call of intentional grounding, and he's going to show it right on his face. Meanwhile, second quarter, Ravens really controlled the ball in this game, too. And also territorially, Deion Sanders, prime time. 23-yard return. But minus 15 for taking off the helmet.
They didn't have that rule when last time prime time was
so in that 8-yard return, Dion. 3rd and 7 of the 19 for Pittsburgh. And Maddox throwing a Plexico Burris, and prime time gets over, leaves the game with a hamstring injury, would not return but made the play there. So it's 13-0 Baltimore. Time of possession, kept Pittsburgh in their own zone. Gary Baxter rustles in, hits Maddox on the arm. It's a fumble. Suggs recovers, returns to the one, and Maddox injured right elbow. He's out at least a week, and so that means Roethlisberger, who played, will be the starter next week. Meanwhile, down at the 1, Jamal Lewis, 1-yard run, 20-0 Ravens. Now, Roethlisberger threw a couple of touchdown passes, gave Pittsburgh hope. But in the end, this one looked like a different route run, and Chris McAllister made them jump off the Tallahatchie Bridge. 51 yards, gets over Roethlisberger at the end zone. McAllister with a big play for that defense, and the Ravens, quote, a 30-13 win over the Pittsburgh Steelers as Maddox struggled and left. So Baltimore, you know what, their defense set the tone, and boy, they were suffocating it.
Yeah, and this is the way that they're going to win football games. I think they have to depend on the D. You look at those numbers for Kyle Bowler, 10 of 18 for 98 yards. You're going to win most of your games on the defensive side of the ball.
Even though Lewis had only 62, each team is 1-1. Meanwhile, both teams, one of these games between 1-0 teams, 4 of them we had, the Rams and the Falcons. Mike Vick and the Falcons, well, the Rams have beaten the Falcons 7 straight times. Michael has been a big reason why. Second quarter, Falcons lead 7-0, and they mean business. Watch Mike Vick. To the 15, the 10, the 5. What? Wow, 14-yard gain. Jeremiah Butler flips him, Tom.
Yeah, and take another look at it. We talk about what Mike Vick should and shouldn't do. He only knows one way to play football. and he's playing it all out. He's going to do whatever he can to help this team win.
Warwick done with a nice cut. 2-yard run, swimming into the end zone. 14-0 Falcons. Jim Mora's team looking to go up on Mike Martz's team even more. 4th down Rams. Falk on the carry, and he's wide open for the touchdown. 14-7 now. In the second quarter, Vic. Now watch this series of play. Vic taking over in his own 26-yard line. Eventually. Talk about an athlete. Well, this is what we missed last year. Whoop. There's nobody open, and whoop. Whoop. The first down, and then I want more, and then get out of bounds so I don't get hit. 20-yard gain. Then on the 50. Watch this, Tommy. And whoop. 14-yard gain. And then I feel like another run in me, and then whoop, and the jitterbug, and then the outside, and bounce it outside, get a block, cut it in. 18 yards, sets up a field goal, 17-7.
Yeah, you just watch the way he destroys the angles when he's going down the field. He's the most dangerous player, I believe, to ever play quarterback in terms of his ability to scramble and make things happen out of the pocket.
Third quarter, the Rams down 10, try to respond. Mark Bolger, who was only 5-4 on the road, as much success as the Rams have had. To Torrey Holton, watch this. Speaking about, I don't know if this is Mo, Larry, Curly, or Shep. 17-14. Now, Vic tries to move, doesn't quite get the first down on 3rd and 8. Next play from the 3, Warwick Dunn gets the first down and the touchdown. 24-17. Atlanta back in, and then the defense took over. Mark Bolger. If I only could avoid the sack. Patrick Kearney down at the 1, and then Bolger. If I only could keep the ball in my hand. In the air, no! Touchdown! Brady Smith, touchdown! Mike Martz actually threw the challenge flag. Is it Mike? The
ball never hit the ground.
Yeah, so don't bother. 31-17, the Falcons lead to go on and a field goal. 34-17. Hot Atlanta, 416 yards. Hello for Atlanta. Vic, 109 yards running, 179 more throwing. Atlanta also had 5 sacks.
And the key number I look at is you look at that graphic right there. Marshall Faulk, 12 carries for 20 yards and a touchdown. You'll be in trouble every time you see that. Number.
Well, and with Vic running for 100 yards. Now, this young man has played only 30 games, but already he has 300-yard rushing games as a quarterback. Only the ageless one, Billy Kilmer, not really in his Redskins days, those are the 49er million-dollar backfield days, had 4 of them. Some great names on here, obviously Donovan McNabb, Tobin Rote, the old Lion and Charger, Bobby Douglas, the old Bear, and Randall Cunningham, who is certainly mercurial in his own right, but Vic on a pretty interesting list. Now, the Colts play that great game on the opening Thursday, only to lose at New England because they couldn't convert inside the 5, inside even the 1-yard line. They were playing at Tennessee with the danger of going 2 down to a very formidable team, the Tennessee Titans, in their division. Here we go with our prime cut. It's a tough opening schedule for Indianapolis, and Tennessee coming in 1-0. They were ready in a battle of co-MVPs. Now, Indy won both games last year between these two as Peyton Manning finally shed that albatross. Chris Brown, not Eddie George this year, and he's a dimension that they didn't have last year. 20 yards, bounces it outside, 7-0 Titans.
Yeah, and watch the rookie Jacob Bell going to come across and make a great block, but this kid has great vision, Chris Brown. Sees the cutback lane, got that high knee action, reminds me of Eric Dickerson a little bit. You don't want to run too high because you take a lot of shots, but he has great acceleration. That's an outstanding run.
Back in the saddle, the most points, the most field goals. Gary Anderson, a 39-yard field goal like he never left. 10-3 Titans. But later in the second, Marvin Harrison coughs up the ball. Samari shake, rattle, and roll. Colts only 3 points in the first half, but Tennessee had a chance to really bury the Colts. But in the second half, it was the Colts that said, not so fast. Peyton Manning to Reggie Wayne, stately Wayne Manor, out of the Batcave, touchdown, we're tied at 10. Now, Chris Brown running hard, down to the 5, down to the 1-yard line, sets up McNair with a sneak, so Tennessee back on top, 17-10. Colts, play action late third, Manning, Reggie Wayne, oh, he couldn't keep his feet, it's still 44 yards. Oh, we had a touchdown, but no worry, Hedger and James certainly hanging out of the ball here, bouncing. 22 yards down to the 2. And then they switch ends. First play of the fourth quarter. How about this play action? Beautiful. Marcus Pollard wide open. The game is tied at 17. Then turning point in the game. 4th and 2 Titans. Inside the 30. Derek Mason open. But Nick Harper steals the ball for the Colts.
This is the most difficult of interceptions. Nick Harper didn't look back. He read Mason's eyes to figure out where the ball was. Made a great interception.
And then Manning says, thank you, Nick, to Marvin Harrison. 34 yards, great concentration as we see it again.
Ball thrown to the outside shoulder. Defender can't get to it. Great job of getting your feet in bounds, Marvin.
Okay, now inside the 5, Edgerrin, hold on, no problem. Edgerrin James, touchdown, 24-17, the Colts. Tennessee punting, 4th and 10 under 5 to go. Little trickery, Hentrick, complete, but no, not far enough for the first down. The Titans were 0-3 on 4th down gambles, Tom, and Edgerrin James then bounces outside, and look at him go. Into the end zone, 30 yards, the 100% healthy Edgerrin James.
Absolutely.
And the Indianapolis Colts stare 0-2 in the face, come back to beat the Titans in Tennessee, 31-17. Remember last year, Tennessee lost only one game in their home stadium, and that was to the Indianapolis Colts, who all of a sudden have their number. And I would say in this game, a couple things we didn't show you there. Tennessee went for it the way Chris Brown was running for it in the first half. They went for it on fourth down inside the 5, and the Colts defense, they had a chance to bury the Colts. The Colts resilient.
Yes.
And then they looked like a championship team again. This time they had a win to show for.
You used the right word. You think all the way back to last year in the Tampa Bay Buccaneer game, scoring those touchdowns at the end of that football game, coming back. It's all about mentality, and I think that Tony Dungy has convinced this football team we are never out of a game. We've got a lot of weapons. This is going to help us defensively, and they're going to be a team to be reckoned with all the way through the season.
Here's a stat you won't look at. In the rushing department, Manning 5, McNair 2. So,
well, that'll be the only time that happens.
Right. Even outrest him. A big win for the Colts as both are 1-1. Big story from Oakland. Jerry Rice, the incomparable one, will explain.
This is our house. Everything you have trained for your entire life has prepared you for this moment. It's us versus them. All I want to talk about is how big they are, and that this is the year they knock us off. Well, when they come in here, they got to play our game in our house, and nobody beats us in our house.
We must protect this house. Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Sunday Night Football on ESPN. All excitement in Cincinnati as Carson Palmer makes his home debut as a starter at quarterback. Into town to play the Bengals, the Miami Dolphins. Linda Cohn with the highlights.
ESPN Sunday Night Football. Bengals trying to beat the Dolphins for the first time since 1977, a span of 9 losses. A.J. Feely getting the start for Jay Fiedler. Feely sacked. Dolphins with just 226 total yards of offense. Randy McMichael disgusted. He needs to talk with Dr. Phil right away. Still 13-3 Bengals.
That guy's a fraud.
First and goal for the Dolphins. Feely finding Chris Chambers. 21-39 for 218 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks for Feely.
He's not the fraud. Dr. Phil's the fraud.
I understand that. Miami scored 10 points in the 4th to tie it up. Bengals with a chance to win. Shane Graham from 39 yards away. Yes, Carson Palmer made it happen. That's right, 7 for 8 for 53 yards in the final drive with under 2 minutes left.
And don't miss Sunday Night Football next week, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. It's the John Gruden Bowl, Bucs at Raiders, preceded by NFL Primetime and followed by SportsCenter.
Pair of teams that are 1-0 going into game number 2. The Jets and the Chargers facing off at the Murph. Curtis, my favorite Martin, off his 196 yards last week against the Bengals, get 2 here, and the Jets lead it 14-0. Herm's got a different club this year. Now it's 17-0, and Tim Dwight back. And you think he's fast, Tom? Whoop. And then he could go all the way. 87 yards. Chargers on the board at 17-7. But it's 27-7 the Jets until LaDainian Tomlinson. 4-yard run, 27-14. Now 27-21. Chad Pennington. Just like his accuracy, Santana Moss gets bumped, but still catches it 48 yards. Sets up a Chris Baker touchdown, 34-21 Jets. Doug Flutie in, the ageless one, subbing for Breach. Flutie. You know he's going to pleat one to Eric Parker, who pens the first down. That sets up, and you know he's going to do this. And, oh, he can still move. Get under there, Dougie. 6 yards, 34-28. Chargers, you know the onside kick's coming. And with the good hands, it's Wayne Kripet. Good to see him out there. If this is the right thing, it's contributing to the Jets. And Herm Edwards and the Jets are 34-28 winners. And we should say this. Now, Curtis Martin, another 100-yard game, 119 yards, passes Freeman McNeil as the all-time rusher in Jets history. So congratulations to Curtis, who looks awfully strong.
Yeah, and you talk to Coach Herm Edwards, and he's always going to tell you this is the guy that makes the offense go. He's making it go.
Pennington, 22 of 29, no picks, 258. Jerry Rice and the Raiders hoping to get on the winning ways, playing the Buffalo Bills, hosting them in Oakland for the first time since 1977. Stabler against Ferguson. Meanwhile, wearing a number of the snake, Rich Gannon, and complete to Jerry Rice. Second quarter. Rice, wait a minute now, did not make a catch. His first time without a catch after 274 straight games. Drew Bledsoe sacked in a 10-3 game by Tyler Brayton. 7 sacks of Bledsoe today on this day. And meanwhile, the Bills moving as Bledsoe, 65 to Lee Evans. Bledsoe, finally, the Bills, who have trouble scoring, gets it to Eric Moulds. And Mold Sheet with great concentration here.
Yeah, ball that was tipped. Moulds managed to grab it with one hand back in the end zone and still get both feet, knees, hips down in the end zone for the score.
And then the onside kick, and the Raiders grab it. And the Bills, another defensive effort, strong, but lose another 13-10 game. And the Raiders, you know, they get it done. But the big news in this game is that Jerry Rice did not catch a pass for the first time since his rookie year of 1985. Quarterback Rich Gannon after the game.
I wish I would have known the situation, but knowing Jerry like I know him, I think that, you know, I don't think he would have wanted just someone to throw him a ball if that was the situation. We're trying to get everybody involved. I don't know that Doug Gabriel had many catches today, or Ronald Curry had the one, but we didn't couldn't get a whole lot going after that first quarter, you know, and so. But knowing Jerry like I do, I'm sure he'll start another streak. And
so 20 years, 274. Next, by the way, on the list is Art Monk at 183. An amazing run ends, but a signal.
And that's what it is. I think it's been a great run, a marvelous run for Jerry Rice. But, you know, we know that now you're, I like to say, headed toward the 18th green. And so when you see this, a game where you play and he completes passes to 7 different receivers, you're not involved, I think that Jerry understands that, you know, it's been a great streak, but it certainly signals that we are now headed toward, you know, probably the end of his career, toward the end of his career.
Well, he's not going to end in the middle of the season.
But no. But certainly, you know, if I played in a football game and I didn't make a single tackle, you know, I would sit back and go, boy, you know, well, what's my contribution?
Well, Jerry feels fair, but the Raiders won. They won the game. They beat the Bills 13-10. When we return on this edition of NFL Primetime, the champion Patriots, and it was good that the Patriots were playing in Arizona. We'll certainly will explain that. The only time we're going to see the Patriots for 24 days. Odd. And Sean Alexander. Will the Seahawks win another game on the road? They won last week.
Chevrolet Fantasy Ticker is brought to you by the new Chevrolets. 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American Revolution.
Patriots at the Cardinals, and every player in the NFL wearing the decal of number 40. Pat Tillman, his number retired today. Arizona will wear that on their helmets all year long. Tom Brady, Daniel Graham, 2 yards, Patriots lead it 7-0 in the first. Josh Tears of McCown throws it deep, but overthrows, and Eugene Wilson, second-year DB of the Patriots, is there to make the pick late in the first quarter.
Young quarterback trying to get the ball to Larry Fitzgerald. As you watch him throw, look at the Patriots close. There's absolutely no way you're going to be able to stick this ball in. And the Patriots, as usual, make a great play on the football.
Now Tom Brady with the pass to Graham again for a touchdown, and the Patriots 19 yards, lead at 14-0. But halftime, Pat Tillman honored, mom, family, honored forever by the NFL, the NFLPA, the Pat Tillman Foundation, and I think a lot of the players around the league will want to wear that number 40 on their helmets no matter what team they're on. Emmitt Smith down 17-6, punches it in for the touchdown. They go for two and miss it at 17-12. And in the fourth, Arizona still gained down 8. McCown to Fitzgerald, picked off by Wilson again. New England gets a Vinatieri field goal, and they go on to win this game in an emotional day in Arizona, 23-12. Tom Brady picked off twice by Arizona, so not one of his greatest days. Patriots going into a bye. They had 10 days off after the Colt game. Now they have a game. They've now won, by the way, 17 in a row. Now they have a bye. Then they host Buffalo in 2 weeks to try to tie the record of 18 straight. The Patriots beat the Cardinals. Seahawks Bucks. Seahawks won on the road last week in New Orleans. Could they win at Tampa Bay's home opener? Field goal early Seahawks. They lead 3-0. Matt Hasselbeck, pump fake, freezes the D. Corin Robinson open 10-0 Seahawks. Hasselbeck he's been a Pro Bowler.
The stop, go, the fade, he's throwing all the routes now. He understands how to get people open and how to help them get open.
John Gruden pulled Brad Johnson, and the lefty, son of Phil, young Chris Sims, he fumbles the snap on 3rd and goal from the 1. They settle for a field goal. Bucks down 10-6 in the fourth. Sims hit by Cheeky O'Keefer, but called for roughing the passer. So Tampa Bay still in business here after the 2-minute warning. Sims, incomplete, but Grant Wistrom, who's covering, look at Grant downfield, but he gets called for pass interference. Next play, Marcus Trufant with the pick, but roughing the passer is called. So amazingly, Tampa Bay's drive stays alive. He's called for hitting late.
He called not only for hitting late, but for hitting down around the knees. The referees are paying attention to where you're hitting the quarterback.
But this time, Michael Boulware makes the pick. One of their top draft picks. They go to the booth, and then wait a minute now. Sims' knee down before he throws, but they don't overturn it.
No.
I mean, how many times can
That's all right. They got their share already.
They got their share. And the Seahawks win it. Certainly not the most artistic game, but Seattle, a team that was 2-7 on the road last year, has 4 of these back-to-back road games this year, and they've won the first set. They're 2-0 with road wins. Their home opener coming up, and Tampa begins at 0-2, and maybe a change at the helm. Browns, Cowboys. Cleveland a surprise winner last week, so Dallas taking no chances. Flea flicker to Keyshawn Johnson from Vinny, 36-yard gain. And that sets up a little toss to Jeff Robinson, 7-0. How about that, Cowboy? 3rd down, Dallas, second quarter. Terry Glenn with the catch. He's hit late by Earl Little. And meanwhile, Keyshawn comes running right in and says, don't hit late.
Well, he hit a defenseless receiver, whether he was down or not, and Keyshawn came in to defend his teammate. And I completely understand that.
But Bill says, Keyshawn, look, they already got the flag.
He doesn't want the penalties. He got the flag, but sometimes the emotional edge is where you want to defend your teammate.
7.5 minutes to go. Dallas looking to put it away, but Robert Griffith in a 17-12 game makes the pick. Vinny threw 3 picks in the second half. He didn't look strong at all. Browns, 2nd and 8. Jeff Garcia, this one's picked off by Terrence Newman. Garcia picked off 3 times. Then, later in the fourth, Garcia trying to make something happen. Nice effort, but out of bounds to Kellen Winslow, but flag holding in the end zone. 19-12. They try the onside kick. Anthony Henry gets the ball for Cleveland. They actually have a shot. Admittedly, not much of one. McCown, the younger McCown, comes in. Luke McCown, he can throw it farther than Garcia. There was a 5-yard penalty, Dallas. He could reach the end zone. But look who's back playing. What do you do, Tom?
Knock it out!
Even Keyshawn Johnson knows that. And so, the Cowboys win it 19-12. So they and the Browns each 1-1 on the year. Garcia really struggled, 8 of 27. Vinny threw for 300, but as we said, both were picked off 3 times. And we saw young Julius Jones from Notre Dame run a little bit for Dallas in this game.
Yeah, we saw him fumble, and we saw him not carry the ball very much after he fumbled. I think that's a sign as well.
When we return, our prime time players. Tom and I will wrap up a wacky Week 2.
NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. Grab yourself a great-tasting low-carb Miller Lite. And in part by Lowe's, where you'll find all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, improving home improvement.
Boomer, my primetime performer. First year in the league, rookie Roy Williams. Caught 4 passes today, 2 of them, half of them for touchdowns, 73 yards. And the thing that's most impressive, he makes it all look pretty effortless. He's a big guy, got a long stride, deceptively fast.
My primetime player's got to be Mike Brown. Remember a couple of years ago when the Bears won the Central, he had big play after big play after big play, 95 yards, almost breaking a record that stood since 1923. George Halas's club record of a 98-yard fumble return against the Oorang Indians.
You rang?
You rang. We rang. Thanks for watching NFL Primetime. I'm Chris Berman for Tom Jackson.